Hey, folks, it's Dave back here in Studio B, just coming on to say hi on this Friday night. Supposed to play something tonight. I was going to play something, either play something and/or stream something tonight, and it just didn't work out. Today just got away from me. It's been a crazy 36 hours of work between doing just all these different jobs and getting home late and going into work, and then I had one of those ice cream headaches all day. If you've ever had one of those, I kept trying to grab a nap, and I just couldn't do it. All right, so the camera's working, the microphone's working, looks good. Um, and so I just, I didn't return some phone calls today, and I'm kind of bummed that I didn't return the phone calls, and I, just got around to it tonight to tell them I'll call them tomorrow. But yeah, it's just a crazy day because I was kind of hoping to. I was all excited to play tonight. I was all excited to play something tonight because I was like, oh man, once I get through tomorrow at noontime, I got the rest of the weekend to play because I'm taking tomorrow off from work because we have a goalie shortage, so we can't play. So I was like, oh, perfect. I'll get Friday afternoon and Friday night and Saturday to play until we get the snow Sunday afternoon. We're gonna get a ton of snow. And but you ever just be so tired and you try to lay down and you can't and you get disrupted. It's just that's what it was all day today. So I have like this just smashing ice cream headache. So it's like I certainly wasn't going to play anything tonight that I had to think about. So I figured I'd come on and say hi, just kind of see what you guys are doing. And as you can tell, the title of the show, "Don't Worry, Be Happy?" Question mark. Question mark. Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit tonight. About just you know, if you play this game in communities, it's not a controversial community. That's what I don't get, and I don't get sometimes why people bicker at each other over stupid things about games. We don't talk, politics or religion or money or anything. It's gaming. It's fun. It's supposed to be fun. We play these games because we enjoy it, and it just you get crap from people depending on what game you play or how you play it or what teams you play or how you play the certain team and why you didn't do this and I don't get it. It just like Al says, we just need to play and be happy and play the game you want. And like Ron says, there's no wrong way to play it. And once the camera goes on and the cards start flying and the dice start chucking around the place there, it's all fictional anyway. So yeah, it's just it's just been kind of weird. It's flared up lately. It's been flaring up some of the negativity, and I just wasn't sure like what the deal is. It's like some people get all over me for playing APA Master Baseball. I mean, really upset that I'm playing it and trying to talk me out of playing it. And it's like, why? If I'm enjoying it, let me enjoy it. I'm not understanding that because I see a lot of people on YouTube or Facebook or Delphi. They play games that I have no interest in playing at all. It's like I'll never play that game. I don't want to play that game. But I'm not going to go and say don't play this game. It's terrible. This is a lousy game. If you're enjoying it, that's the thing. Play your game and enjoy it, and have fun and just. I enjoy seeing people. When they post their recaps or whatever it is, and it's like you can tell the joy they've had with this game. And sometimes it's a game or even a sport I have no interest in whatsoever of playing that particular game or that particular sport. But I see how happy they are. And I'm like, something, good for you. Good for you. I'm glad that you're happy playing this game, Oh, this thing is bugging me right here. This sticker. I usually take the stickers off the hats, but I couldn't get this one off tonight. So this is my new pirate hat. There was a post-Christmas sale. I always pick up the hats when they have these crazy sales. They're usually like $5 or something like that. So it's like anytime they go on sale, I try to get a team that I don't have so I can play on here. But the other night I was super happy. When my Apple order come in. And I got the 69 baseball season so I can play some Seattle Pilots and, the expansion was at the Padres or the other expansion team. So I'm so looking forward to that. And then I got in 84 so I could play the community project. So I'm like, oh man, I'm all excited. I got, a new baseball season and I got new 84 so I can play 60 so I can play 69 and 84. 84 is for the project. I can't wait to play that. I'll probably do that in basic, more or less, just so I can get through the games and get stats and not have to make decisions. But I'll play the other games in Master. And then I also got 77 football. Really, really looking forward to 77 football. I already got 2 or 3 games I want to play. I'll probably play one of them tomorrow. So tomorrow I plan on doing a ton of playing, whether it's online or not. I want to play some football tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it, And so what else was I going to say there? Yeah, so I was so excited when I got my seasons in. I was like, oh man, this is so cool that I can actually, play some of my favorite season the whole bit, and then you just read some of the yucky yucks, you know, and it's just like, come on, just let me play my game, let me have my fun, and just. If you play a game and it's great, and you like it, because there's some people, like I said, I'm not going to mention games, but there's some games I just don't want to play. And some people play it. I'm like, good for you. Good for you. I try to be positive. I do. I think, growing up, we all were, I know when I was younger, it's like, no, the world had to be how I wanted it. And everyone had to listen to this kind of music and the whole bit. And if you didn't, then there was something wrong with you. And then as I get older, I ran into people that were like, good for you. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, if you like that, good for you. And I've tried to take that attitude, like, good for you. If, someone's like, oh, this person just retired, good for them. Oh, this person, just did this, good for them. Why can't we be happy for someone instead of be mad at someone, or whatever it is, And there's a few people coming by here, so I'm trying out the new software here. I'm kind of liking it. I got to say, I'm kind of liking it. So Ron McGrath comes by. David C. Good to see you, David C. And you like the Pirates lead? Yeah, I need to take that sticker off. I might have to do that while I'm doing this because it's really kind of bugging me, Michael comes by. Michael, check your Facebook. I haven't had a chance to look at that email yet. As I say, today just got away from me. I don't know what happened today. It just... things just got nuts today here. Like I said, I got home from work, and I thought I'd be done work at 9 or 10 o'clock, and I didn't get done till after lunch. And then I went out to lunch with the wife, and we ran some errands, and I come home, and I was exhausted. I tried to lay down, and the dogs are barking. So then you get up, and now you're half asleep because you didn't really sleep. That's kind of where I am right now. And I says, well, I'm not going to be playing anything tonight. As William comes by and DB comes by, and yes, we are blessed to be part of this hobby. That's the thing. We should be happy. We should be happy for everybody. I've met so many great people. People that have sent me spreadsheets and helpers to play games, and people that have sent me score sheets, and people that have done this and done that. I've met so many great people that have enhanced my gaming community. And Keith comes by. Hi, Keith. And so many people have done so many things for me, and I've helped so many people. Even today, I'm still sending out spreadsheets and emails. There's been so many people that email me every now and then. Probably 2, 3, 4 times a week, I get an email, someone saying, "Hey, send me the APA score sheet, or the APA Excel helper, or the whatever." And so I do. I'm busy. In fact, Ron's kind of helped me with that now. I sent Ron some files on hey, when these people start emailing, can you zip them off? Because I don't have time. I'm at the rink, or I'm going around. I'm bouncing from rink to rink, or I come home. Like last night, I come home from one rink, slept in this chair for about 15 minutes, and then head out to another rink, and then get up first thing in the morning, went to another rink. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted here. So, but I try to help people when I can. I do. If I can help someone, I will. Sometimes I can't, and sometimes people get mad at me for that. It's really strange. It's like, I asked you this question, but it's like, I don't have all the answers. I'll help you if I can. And, but if I can't, I'm just, I'm not a master at everything I play. Some people are like, well, how do I put this into the game? And how do I put this in my computer game? And how did you do this? And it's just, I don't remember. That was 3 or 4 years ago that I did that. I honestly just don't remember how I did it. But I try to help when I can. And Ryan comes by. Hi, Ryan. Hopefully it's a great point. Banking on Money comes by, and everyone has a different taste. No such thing as a bad game, and someone will like it. Gaming is supposed to be fun, not confrontational. I get it. I know. I'm not sure why it goes that way. You know what I think it is? I think that we're all super passionate about our games. We're super passionate about things, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can be super passionate about your game. But just it gets to a point where people just keep pushing their games on people, and if someone plays something different or plays it a different way, we take offense. It's almost like it's like you got a favorite movie or a favorite restaurant or something like that, and you want to share that with somebody. I get it. It's like, oh man, I like to go to this restaurant here. Oh man, I do too. Oh yeah, we can talk about it, talk about our favorite things. You know what I mean? So you got something in common. So I know, and you can share that joy with somebody. You know, if you your favorite game is my favorite game, we have something in common. We can share that. You know, but you know, if your favorite game is something that I don't like or don't play or will never play or have played and don't like it, that doesn't mean we still can't. You know, I can't. You know, enjoy you enjoying your game. Is kind of what I'm getting at, you know, and I guess Al, Red Sox fan, has been talking a little bit about that on his streams. You know, he's has had some negative Nancy's in his chat room there, and he's just like, why? Why do we got to be upset at anybody for what they're doing or how they're playing or what's happening? You know, let's just play our game and have some fun, and so that's kind of the message here tonight. Is just like let's it's weird. It's very strange, you know. And my buddy Ray, who I didn't call back today, and if you're watching, I'm sorry. I was in the middle of talking to somebody, and then right after that, I went out the door and I come home and I had a headache and couldn't sleep, and now I still have a ice cream headache. But we'll connect this weekend if you're listening. But he says he has the same thing in the train hobby, where people run their trains and they have their layouts, and people get upset when people do a certain thing, and it's just like, we're here in our basement, you know, whether we're playing baseball or hockey or football or running trains or have matchbox cars. We're in our basement just trying to have some fun. And I just don't understand, like, where the controversy is or why anybody's got to be upset with anybody that's playing a game or playing a certain way or whatever it is. Just have some fun with it, you know, and I've really been enjoying going back and pulling out a season and playing a game from the past. That's why I started Dave's Classic Rewind. I fired that back up, and now the goal with that is to go back and just play a game from the past, a blast from the past. I'm going to take this game, I'm going to try to play as many people that played in that game as possible, whether it's, baseball, football, or hockey, and maybe basketball at some point too. But I want to, in fact, I did buy some basketball over Black Friday that I need to get on the channel. But I thought it'd be fun to just go back and just revisit one game in time and go back and play that game and see how it turns out. And so that way there is kind of like, it's not any part of any bigger project. It's I guess it's kind of a one-off, but it's kind of just like, I'm going to go back in time, watch this game, and then boop, come back into modern times. That's kind of how I pictured that. Let's go back in time. Let's visit a game in the past. And I want to play different games too. It's not all just going to be Apper or Strat or whatever I play, or hockey ball. I'm going to try to do different games and just go back in the past and revisit it there. Because I've really been enjoying. I've been sitting there on YouTube like so much, watching old stuff. In fact, I will say this. I will say I've been watching a lot of football highlights. You wouldn't believe how many people were tackled on the knees going down at the one or just inside the one and then falling in, and they're calling them touchdowns. Just like every highlight, the guy wasn't in the end zone. And some of it was pretty clear, but they gave him like the forward progress and he leaned forward. You know what I mean? And it was just, every time I watch a highlight of that, it's like he's running. Oh, he's tripped up and he drops to his knees and he falls forward and over the goal line, touchdown. It's like, no, he wasn't in. Like if they had the replay back in the day, they'd be calling touchdowns back left and right. It's too funny. It's really kind of funny how that those highlights there, and then those guys are getting destroyed in football. I've been watching a lot of football. They've been getting destroyed. It's like Tarkin did, jumping over the goal line, gets hit helmet to helmet. Like, oh my gosh, Staubach thrown to the ground, slammed on the ground. It's like, oh my gosh, these guys are getting killed back in the 60s and the 70s. And I don't know how they did it. I mean, the guys today are bigger and stronger, but back in the day, they just were destroying people. It's unbelievable, And let's see, what's Ryan get to say here? Leagues and co-ops are also tricky to get everybody aligned on everything. I've learned to not take things so seriously with that over the years. Helps you just appreciate it more. Yeah, like I said, I'm involved in that 84 community project. I think JC Replays is doing. He's running it, and I'm having some fun. And I've only played 2 or 3 games. But it's like I said, I don't want to mess it up. And they're like, oh, you won't mess it up. There's no way you'll mess it up. But in the back of my mind, it's like, well, what if I play a guy that I wasn't supposed to play? Now, I got the pitching thing down because they want us. They're working on pitches mostly. You know what I mean? They don't want to have a pitcher pitch 5 games in a row, so they're trying to have an alternate schedule for the pitches, which I've kind of figured out, and I think I've got that down. But as far as everybody else playing in the game, all these people are on the Facebook group, and they're like, how do I set up my lineup, and what if I do this, and what if I do that? And everyone's like concerned about trying to get the right lineup in there, and now I'm kind of concerned because I was just going with the as played, except for the pitcher. So I just figured that's just the easiest way to do it, and but I don't know if that's the way they want it done. But that's the way I'm going to do it, and I'm like Ryan says, just try to appreciate it and just don't take it so serious. And we can't be too serious about that because everyone's playing different games and everybody's playing it their own way. I think the idea is just to throw in some scores and some stats and see how the community project turns out. I'm kind of enjoying it actually, and every now and then I'll go on and just check stats. And you know me, I like playing the bad teams. So I go on and I play the bad teams because no one wants to play. Everyone wants to play the first place team. I'll play the bad teams. I don't care. And that way I can't screw it up. I can't screw up the standings if the bad teams play bad. But yeah, I am enjoying that. But it is a little intimidating because again, I don't want to be the guy that puts in the stats and it's like, oh, this guy wasn't supposed to play that day, and I'm just like, oh, man, that's what I don't want. I don't want to hear that. Let's see, World's Worst Gamer here. I was watching one of your streams the other day. It's good to see you streaming. One of the bigger leagues in our community. It's an Action PC baseball league. Nice. Yeah, Action PC. That's a lot of people play that. Keith, what does Keith have to say here? I love the hockey games you do with that one goalie that only played one game. Very unique. Thanks, Keith. Yeah, that was fun. And that's when I have to use the hockey bones because Apple usually doesn't card a goalie, although sometimes they do, but they usually don't card a goalie that just played the 1 or 2 games. But that was fun. Yeah, that's kind of like the blast from the past. That'll be included in today's Classic Rewind, where I go back and I play a goalie that played 1 game or a player that 1 game. Maybe you play at a magical game. The only thing about that, though, is it's that sets up for disappointment, right? I will say that you tend to set yourself up for disappointment if you go back in time, like the 1980 Olympics for the USA. That just set you up for disappointment because that team was not supposed to win. And to go back, I know so many people went back and played that, and I don't know how many people got the U.S. to win. So when you go back in time and you try to play, okay, this game was like 49-0 in football. You're not going to get 49-0. I went back and I played the Edmonton, New Jersey game. That was like 13-2 or something like that. Remember the Mickey Mouse thing, Gretzky and the whole bit with the Devils? Sorry, World's Worst Gamer. But when I went back and played that game, the Devils were leading. The Devils were leading like 4-3, and I think they lost 7-5. So I did not get the 13-4, 13-2 game that it was in real life. So when you try to play those outlier games, it's not going to come out like it did in real life. It's just not going to do that. So you got to kind of just try not to play those games. I try to play just like my next game I want to play. Don't know why I want to play it. Probably because I saw it on YouTube. But I want to play 77 Seattle at Oakland. It was Seattle's second year in the league, and Oakland just ripped them apart. And I don't know why, but I want to play that game. I want to play that game. And just to see how I always like Jim Zorn, and the Raiders were classics in the 70s and the whole bit. So I just want to see how they fare on my table if I play them on Apple Football. I played it in game-winning drive, and Seattle did okay, but still Oakland came away at the end with a bunch of late points to run up the score. So I got pretty close actually. I got pretty close to the actual score by playing game-winning drive, which is another fun game to play. What else is going on here? Oh, do you want to get to Victor sent me some things here. So I got the new things in here, and actually a listener of the show actually bought this for me, and Victor made it. So how he does the these things. This is a double here. You can see that it's kind of got a little link here. So I managed to link them here. I had to go and play around to file this thing down and get it to work because they weren't coming through they didn't go together until I filed it down. But I got it in there. I got it working. I got 2 of these now. So they bought this for me. So, the other one, I can't reach the other one. They bought this for me so I could put a whole bunch of APA cards on here for APA football. Because APA football, you need a lot of cards on the table or a lot of cards at your hand there. I like to have my kickers and my receivers and everything right where I can get it. And so now I used to have like just like a whole bunch of the twos and the threes and those single card holders on the table. Now I get a couple big ones, so I'll be able to cut that down in half a little bit. And I'm thinking I gotta figure out what I want to do for my football setup. I saw some people doing something neat where they were just kind of putting either the quarterback or the running back or the receiver on the table here, rather than having everybody. I like to have everybody on the table so I can get right at it, but sometimes it's a little messy. And if I just kind of focus on the one player, I could probably zoom in and we could see his card a little bit better, you know. Bill comes by. Well, things are going well, Bill. But let me see. Where can you get the card stands? I did a review on my channel here, and I linked Victor's email. Hang on a sec. Let me see if I can get his email so you can. He's on Facebook, Victor Wenzel. Let me see if I can find his email that he sent me, and you can send him an email. And he does all. He's really getting into the 3D printing, and he's really kind of working on like the card holders, is what it is. Okay, here's his email. Let me see if I can post this. So gonna be my first post. Let's see if I can post this here. Will that work? Yep, it does. So that's Victor right there. Victor Wenzel at hotmail.com, however he spells that out. And tell him that you saw the stands and you're interested in some stands, and he does a good job with them. And they fit, like I said, the video I did a good job showing them. They fit everything: strat, APA, payoff pitch. What else did I have in there? Season ticket. They hold everything. They really do. They hold everything. And I like them. I use them all the time. When I play my games, you'll see them on my table often. Sometimes they're off to the side, sometimes they're on the camera, but I use them all the time. I like to use them. I used to use all these kind of other crazy things and making stuff up here, but those work great. They're nice and light. Again, you can get different colors. I like the white, but I guess he makes black and clear. And they're like I say, there's a little groove here, so you can see that groove right here. So all the cards sit right in there, and they sit at a nice little angle for you and the whole bit. So I can't wait to try out the bigger stands when I play some football. Hoping to play some football tomorrow if I can get rid of this massive, stupid headache that I got. Oh, man. But it was fun watching those YouTube videos of the people getting tackled at the one and then falling into the end zone. They're calling them touchdowns. And how many times, too, back in the day, the guy would catch the ball, take a step, get hit, ball goes flying out, and it's touchdown. There was one in the Super Bowl for the Cowboys, I think, against, was it the Broncos? Guy dove, caught it, hit the ground, ball went flying, and it's a touchdown. That would not be a touchdown in 2024 or 2025. But back in the day, as long as you cut it and you had and you just got a thing there, and it just you hung on to it for a second. You'd be in the end zone. It'd be a touchdown. And what else is going on here? So I'm kind of on tonight. I really want to try out this software here. This EV. It's called EV Mux, and I got 7 days free. So I think I'm down to like 5 days now, and then I got to buy it for the year. But I'm kind of liking some of the things that it does. I like how it can fade in and fade out. So let me just show you a couple things here. So let's see, where's my 77 season? So let's just say that I'm going to go to my Seattle Seahawks against Oakland, and this was the game that they got absolutely killed. So let's just say that I want to do this, right? See, I'm still new at this. So I need to do a couple things here. So I'm trying to show you how this works. And it actually does a pretty neat job. Alrighty, so then I want to... It's all about adding layers. Screen share. Sorry about this. I'm kind of doing this on the fly. getting it. Oh, here we go. Maybe this. Yep, there we go. Okay. So it's all about adding layers when you do this thing here. So I'm in like the background. Right? It's neat because it's got a studio mode. So I'm working on this kind of behind the scene, and I'm going to show you this in 1 second what it's going to look like. So I want to come up over here, and I say I want to show you this. I'm going to come over here a little bit. I'm going to show you this this game. Now, if I lose sound, let me know because I can't really monitor this. But so what's going to happen here is I'm going to bring this in, and I'm going to share the screen. So this is what EV Mux can do. This is kind of fun. So I'm going to do this. And so now you should be seeing me in the top corner, and I can share this screen with you. So this is the game I want to play where it's Oakland taking on Seattle. I'm going to see if I can zoom in a little bit. And let me scroll down a little bit and see what happened in the game. So 44-7. I don't know why, but I want to play this game. You know me. 29 first downs to 13, so that was a big day for Oakland. Zorn, 7 for 20. Stabler played, and then Mike Ray come in. Stabler with 3 touchdown passes. But I like to go here and take a look at the starting lineups, and I'm like, there's something I'm going to play this game. I don't know why, but this is one game that I want to play on the app of football, and then I transition back, and poof, there we go. So I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of liking some of this stuff. I really am. I mean, I like this little studio mode where I can go in and I can set up the next scene and bring it in. So hopefully you didn't lose me there. I'm learning that when I go to the next scene, if I'm not in it, if I don't add myself to the scene, then you don't see or hear me. So I'm getting a little bit better at it. but I like the fact that I can do things like that. And okay, so that looks good. Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, but I mean, I was doing something with Ron and Tebow the other day. I was practicing and showing them a little bit, and it does sound good too. Okay. Gus says he likes the new studio software. As long as it works. I mean, the other one kind of worked, and Clams and stuff comes by, and he says, "Made you cringe when I saw some of the comments directed at me for playing the master game." Yeah, you know, we talked about that offline, Ron and Tebow and I. And it's just like if you play Appa Master, you get some flack. And if you play Strat Basic, you get flack. So you have to play Strat Super Advanced and Appa Basic. Otherwise, you know, you're going to get some flack. And it's kind of weird. And it's just like, I don't get it. I don't get why, you know, that is that. Oh, let me show you this other channel here while I'm here, Walla Washington. I'm not going to play anything from it, but I do want to show you. I've been watching this guy's channel a whole bunch. Okay. Hang on a second. I'm going to set it up. So this guy's channel here. Let's see if I can share this now. Alrighty. So let me I'm going to stop sharing this. All right, hang on one sec. Bear with me while I do this, okay? Hang on. Okay, so I'm on this. Oh, so I need to share. All right, we're going to delete that. All right, let me add a new layer here. We're going to go screen share. Oh, I got it wrong again. Hang on. I'll get it. I'll figure it. I'll figure it out. Hang on. Oh, no, I got to come over here. I'm sorry. I'm still getting used to this. All right, so let me show you this. So this is the channel here that I've been watching a lot of. Okay? And see if I can just blow that up on the screen a little bit. And we'll blow this up. So I want to show you this guy's screen here. I don't want to play it. I don't want to get in trouble. But he's been showing a lot of football games and stuff, and I've been watching this guy here. So let me bring this in. So this guy's channel here, I've been watching a lot of the old playoff games, and he shows like just a couple minute clips of playoff games. And so I've been just so watching this guy's channel, and hopefully they won't take it down or whatever. But I've been enjoying that guy, and I assume it's a guy, and it's just been kind of fun, watching all the YouTube stuff and the whole bit. But that's been a good time. Let me go back to my comments here. I missed a couple of comments. And well, no, you won't. See, that's the thing, Cleveland baseball. You won't get any flack for playing Strat Advanced. If you were to play the basic, you would get people saying why you're playing basic, and they won't want you. You have to play advanced or super advanced. That's what I'm not understanding there. And it's just weird. It's the opposite. It's the complete opposite with Appy. You're supposed to play the basic, I don't know what to make of these things here. I'll be honest with you. They're intriguing, and you're hearing all kinds of things. But the problem is, like I said, I see them on, like I said, I see the Facebook too when people are posting the videos, and boy, they're you're really scratching your head. You really are. You're really scratching your head. Hang on, I need to fix this hat. I hate this thing on my hat. I need to take this off. This little sticker here. I got messy hair because I told you I've been having a headache and trying to sleep all day. It hasn't worked. There we go. Now that sticker's not going to bother me every time I look at it. The those UFO things and the drone things, I don't know what to make of them. I really don't. Some of the videos are pretty convincing, but at the same time, we've all been fooled so many times on social media by Photoshop and fakes and all this other stuff. All I can say is that if these are real UFOs and they're real aliens, not much we're going to do about it. And for one, I welcome our insect alien overlords, as they said on this, was it The Simpsons? I don't know if it's them, not much we can do. Not much we can say. If they've flown all this way, there's not much we can do. Let's just hope if they take us over, it's quick, So I don't know what it is, but the drone things, I don't know. I mean, I guess they've captured drones, and so they've admitted that they're drones, but we don't know what they are. Well, that doesn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy. And if you shoot them down, you get in trouble. So what does that tell you? The guys that have been shooting at the drones that bring them down are getting in trouble. So they don't know what they are, but you're not allowed to protect yourself. You're not allowed to shoot them down. I don't know about that either. I don't know about that. But anyway, so what are you guys going to be playing this weekend? I have a rare weekend off until Sunday when I got a shovel. Last weekend I had a weekend off too. Well, Sunday off, and then I got called in to do a game. Yay. But I did the game. It was fun. So I'm hoping tomorrow, if I get some sleep tonight, I'm hoping to get some sleep. I'm really hoping that Al will play some Apple football tonight. Sorry, Al. I love it when he plays Apple football. I like when anybody plays Apple football because I like to follow along and see if I'm playing it right. And just, again, we go back to, you like it when people play, games that you like. So I do like that. Now, if he plays something else, I'm not going to be mad at him, And Cleveland baseball fans, he loves that guy's channel. He used to broadcast TV for Highs instead of Sports Center. Okay. Nice. But yeah, so when Al does the football, I love it. In fact, there was one the other night I had a hard time sleeping, so I put on his football game, a 76 football game. That was Colts and Cowboys, and I listened to it twice. I put it on, I fell asleep, and then the next day, the next night I listened to it again because it was just fun. Because he had the same thing happen to me. He had a muffed field goal. He tried a field goal and he got the fumble, and he did the fumble, and it was like recorded 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage by the holder or the quarterback, and he rolled for the return, and he scored. That's exactly what happened to me, is I had a quarterback, and I think it was the same quarterback. I think it was Burt Jones, actually. I think I was playing the Colts, and he was playing the Colts, too. I don't know what year I had. and I muffed the punt, the fumble, the snap on the field goal, and he recovered it and he ran it in. I was like, well, that was cool. So we both had that happen, and that was kind of neat that he had that happen too. So, but I'm kind of hoping he'll play that tonight. Give me something to listen to because I don't think I'm going to be playing anything tonight. I'm just too tired. I don't have game head on. I don't have my game head ready. I got a headache, so I won't be able to play. But I did want to come on tonight and tell you that I'll be on tomorrow playing some things. I definitely want to get my 69 APA season out and play some Seattle Pilots. I definitely want to get some 84 baseball going with, I'll probably use APA Basic to start with for that. And so football and baseball tomorrow. I need to get some hockey on the channel too. I'm kicking around whether I want to. All right, so we're having trouble. I'm trying to get a guest on here, but he's having trouble. And Sportsflix comes by. Yeah, I was debating whether to get because like I said, I did some extra work this week. So when I do the extra work, that kind of goes towards the gaming budget, so it doesn't come out of the regular account, so I don't have to get yelled at. Not that I get yelled at, but you know what I mean. I want to, if I work extra, if she works extra, then that's her money. If I work extra, that's my money. So I'm debating whether I want to get another hockey season or not. I got so many Apple hockey seasons. I just play what I got, but there's a couple I don't have that I'd like to get. Like Tebow says and Replay Gamer says, we're all collectors, And so I do like to have them there. And since I've been kind of bouncing around with the Dave's Classic Rewind project, it's nice to have seasons. I just go back and play any game I want, and just when the mood strikes, I like to go back and play. David C says videos and graphics so easy to manipulate on social media that it's hard to take them seriously. Yes, that's the other thing. I think we all fell for certain things on the internet a few years ago. 8 or 10 years ago, whenever it was, and we would believe everything we saw just because that's what we felt like. And then, I think we all fell for the, guy walked into a room and sees this alligator and this is what happens next. Oh, I got to see what happens next. And you're clicking on it and it's something stupid. And after so many of those, it was just like, anytime I see a video and it says, see what happens next, I don't bother. If you can't tell me right away, then I can't be bothered with that. So I think we all kind of fell for that kind of clickbait, and I don't bother with that anymore. It's got to be something I really want to watch. And now the new thing now is, it's like there's this girl in a bikini or whatever, and you're like, okay, what's going to happen here? Is she like going to fall into a pool? Is a dog going to bark and scare her? And you go there and she's just like doing all this stuff and like, that's it. I clicked on this just to see you in a bikini and just moving around. Okay, whatever. There's thousands of those. I thought it was going to be something funny. So that's the new thing now. So I'm like, okay, well, anytime I see something like that, I ain't clicking on that either. I thought it might be Aussie Man going, oh, there's this Sheila, and this kangaroo comes out of nowhere. And, oh, my gosh, she falls over into the mud. I thought it was going to be something like that. But it wasn't. It wasn't that. It wasn't an Aussie thing or anything like that. It was just kind of stupid, And a lot of these things are set up now. Like David C. says, everything's so manipulated. You can't believe anything anymore. You really can't. If I had a UFO land here right now and I turn the camera and face out the window and he peeked his head in, you still couldn't believe it. Now, I would say, geez, it's real because I'm here. But, I wouldn't expect anybody to believe that. You guys would all think I'd be pulling your leg, It's something I would do, by the way. Well, maybe a younger version of me would do that. I'd have some fun with that. I really would. What I wanted to do, and I need to go back and I lost my little thing here in the end. Where did my little nubby go? Where did my nubby go? Oh no, I lost my windscreen. Ooh, I'm gonna have to go find that. Where did it go? Yeah, my little windscreen is not on. It's just a little thing anyway, but it's not here. I don't know where it went. Kind of concerning. Oh, there it is, way back over. Is that it way over there? I don't know. I don't know where my little windscreen went. I don't really go far with this. Anyway, we'll have to dig that out later. One thing I wanted to do, and we almost did it like 4 years ago, is I wanted to do like and I saw somebody do this one time, about 10 years ago, and it was really cool. They did, like on Halloween, they did a was it War of the Worlds thing, where they had people call up and give fake news reports about the aliens attacking their city, and it was so well done. It was like the two people were here, and they set up their camera in like black and white, and it was flickering, so it was like, they were kind of broadcasting the radio waves so the aliens wouldn't find them. And they're like, oh, now let's go to Philadelphia, and someone would come on. They're like, yeah, I'm in Philadelphia, and they're everywhere, and I can see the tanks. It was just kind of a fun thing they did for like an hour. And it was just so cool. It was just like this, as community War of the Worlds project, and everybody got pretty creative with that. I still like to do that at some point. Cleveland baseball says, is there any way to recreate the Chester Marco recovery block kick for a TV? I would say there will be. David C. is he's working all weekend, so he's going to watch some YouTube to get his gaming fix. I do that too. That's what I do. Yep, I do that myself. Outlaw JW, good to see you. I make it a point to stay away from the best or better when it comes to games. Well, again, it's play what you want. That's the thing. There's people that play the basic strat hockey. I played the basic a few times. It was okay. But the advanced, I feel the advanced is not a huge step up. The super advanced, I still don't like to play. But I felt like the advanced version of strat hockey was just a small step up. But there's still people that like to play the basic, and it's like I never discourage them. I never say, oh, why are you playing basic? If you're having fun with a game, then have fun, and it's fun to see people play that. So good for you, whatever it is. Oh, nice. Waterfield says, I love basic. I like to play with some advanced rules mixed in. Yeah, well, that's the thing is you can mix in whatever you want. That's the other thing. You don't have to play a certain way. You can. There's a lot of games that I play with a whole bunch of different rules mixed in myself. Even with the app of football, it's mostly basic, but I weave in a few advanced things. And like I say, I've even a few things from other games I weave into that game just to kind of polish off the edges and fill in some cracks that I think that the game might have that just makes it more fun for me. And nothing crazy. It's not going to change the game, but I mean, there's a few things I do with. I really kind of like that. I like when I do that. And let's see, go back to the chat here. I missed a few things. Sorry about that. And Gus says he really enjoyed the most recent podcast. I've always been a big strat baseball player. And tonight he's trying season ticket for the first time. Yeah, that's kind of what it was. The show was about someone had asked, he goes, I'm someone who's played a game for a long time, and I'm trying something new, and I don't know if I can trust the game or the whole bit. So we talked about that. We had Tebow on to talk about that. And what it was, and I think we all kind of agreed that it's going to be a little different or a lot different because you're so used to playing the game a certain way that when you play this other game, it's not going to be played the same way. You're going to have all these things that are different. And hang on a sec here. I got to add Mike. Add Mike over here. Hang on a second, Mike. Hopefully things are working here. I just got to set this up. And whoop, 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 whoop. Let's see. I'm still working on it. Hang on a sec. Still new at this. But this should work if I can set this up. All right. How about this? You with me, Mike?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. I got you now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. Can you guys see and hear Mike? I mean, again, I'm kind of testing out this service here. So if you guys can hear Mike, then we're good to go. Let's see, just getting back to the chat here. Gus says, let me see what he say here. Strat, basic hockey is in my wheelhouse. Love hockey, but don't know enough about it. Perfect. That's what it's about. It's playing what you're comfortable with. I started with a lot of basic baseball games, just because that I don't know baseball that well, and now I'm getting into a few more, advanced games. So, but So, Mike, I don't know if you saw the latest list, but the list is still growing for Digital to Dice Con 25.
Great. No, well, the list that you sent me the other day, but I guess it's that you've added a few since then.
I think I've added three since I
Okay.
sent you that list, maybe four. We,
Okay.
we had a few people sign up over the last week, so I keep trying to add them into the Digital to Dice Facebook group. That's kind of like where I'm kind of keeping my count as well.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing with that.
Looking
Um,
forward to it.
yeah, what I'm really looking forward to is that it's only a couple of hours away from me, so I can really pack my truck with games this time. And I can, put in all kinds of games and teams and whatever else I need to bring. And I know there's a couple games that I want to play with you, and there's a couple games that I'm hoping to play with ST, and so I got some things like that. And I know I'm gonna want to play some games with some of the listeners and the whole bit. So I want to do more gaming than broadcasting this time. Is what I'm kind of hoping.
Yeah, I'm hoping I'm going to the Indianapolis one with
Oh,
ST
that's right.
Patrick.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm going to get there a day early, so I'm going to sit down with him and play his game. I have his game, I just haven't got it out on the table. And I think just getting down there and playing with him. Um, and from what I see, you have to get the FAC cards, the fat cards compared to the dice. So um, I'm looking forward to going to that. It's going to be a long trip. I keep looking at it, and it's about 12 hours, so another
yeah.
2 hours. And unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be trip by myself, unless some miracle happens over
Yeah,
the next couple of
that's.
months.
I don't think that's one I don't think I can take with you that weekend. There.
No, it's crazy because it's a 12-hour drive. Yet, if I want to fly either out of Providence or Hartford, there are no nonstop flights to Indianapolis, which is 2 hours from where ST is.
Hmm.
If I want to go to Indianapolis, and generally it's just southwest, I have to fly from either Providence or Hartford to Tampa or Orlando, and
Yeah,
then up
yeah.
to Indianapolis, and it takes 13 hours. So in 12 hours, I can drive it and be there and still be ahead of the flight by an hour if there's no flight delays.
Isn't that weird? There's been a couple times that I've looked to book some flights too, and it's like, okay, you're gonna go from Boston to Atlanta, or Boston to Phoenix, and then from Phoenix to here, or from Boston to Chicago.
Yeah.
And it's like you're bouncing all around, and it's like 12 hours to get there,
Yeah.
and it's like. I don't know, man. So I haven't booked my flight yet, but I'm trying to book my flight for play in June. I got my hotels, so I just got to book the flights, and I'm spending the extra money to go direct. I'm
Yeah,
going
well, I'm
Boston to
definitely.
Denver. It's like it's not worth it to me because I have wicked bad travel anxiety. In fact, I have nightmares, Michael. I think I might have told you on the
Yeah.
ride to uh,
Canton.
Ohio. Can't Yeah, we talked about a lot of things. We had tons of time.
We had fun. Yeah.
But I did. I still have. I haven't flown in years, and I have dreams that I'm somewhere and was supposed to get to the airport to fly home, and I'm like scrambling to find my boarding pass. I have that bad travel anxiety that I have dreams about it, even though I haven't traveled in years. And so I'm trying to figure out, like, man. I'm having my travel anxiety coming up for this trip, but I got to force my way to do this thing. I'm really nervous about getting back and forth from the airport to the hotel. I'm not gonna lie. I'm concerned, like, not so much getting in, but getting back. Like on Sunday, when I got to get back to the airport, it's like, what happens if I can't get a cab? Or what happens if I can't get an Uber and I miss the flight? I'm going to be anxious the whole time until I get on the plane to come home. That's just kind of
Well,
how.
I think we can take care of that anxiety. I rent a car. I always fly out Sunday night. Usually it's about a 6 o'clock flight back. So, by the time you get the rental car, or, I turn the rental car in at 2 o'clock. So if you've got any kind of a flight in that area, you're more than welcome to ride to the airport. Last year I took Travis Jansen and Paul from Play. They had flights basically around the same time. One was going to Milwaukee, one was going to Cleveland, and believe it or not, we got there. We were in the airport 3 hours before. I think the first of the three flights were going out, and we just found a big table and opened up play games, and we're playing games in the middle of this
Nice.
terminal. Thousands of people walking
Yeah.
by. I'm playing history maker baseball with Paul, and we're yelling and screaming home run, and people looking at us like, "What the heck are these guys doing?" So if you're looking for a ride back to the airport on Sunday, I don't think you'll have a problem.
Yeah. You're going back later on Sunday, right? Like afternoon.
Well, yeah, it's usually the that I usually take is between 6 and 7 o'clock. I haven't booked the flight yet. It's a nonstop flight by Southwest, but it's the last 2 years. I believe it was 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in
Okay.
the evening. But I got there. I'm one of those people. I got to get the rental car squared away. So I give my and it's like 30 minutes from for the where the convention is to the airport. Really, no traffic and I like to get to the airport early no matter where I'm going. That's
Yeah.
just me.
Yeah,
So
me too. I don't want to
I'd
screw
rather
up.
be there 3 hours early, read a book or something. At least I know I'm there.
Yeah, I'm the same way than to be like sitting in traffic sweating it out because again, that's when my anxiety kicks in so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I want to fly out like early Thursday morning, like the 6 o'clock, 6:30 flight, 7 o'clock flight, so I can be out there, lunchtime, early afternoon on Thursday, and then Sunday probably got like a mid-afternoon flight. I'm thinking coming home. That way I don't get a rush in the morning to get there, but I can get up, have breakfast, say
Hmm.
goodbye, and then that way I have some time to get there. You know,
Right.
in the middle of the afternoon. So we'll see when I get my flights or whatever. But yeah, that's my only concern is getting mostly getting back to the airport to get on the flight.
Yeah.
I just have that anxiety that if I miss it, what's going to happen, and just like whatever. But yeah, so I got my rooms booked. I'll get the flight this week.
Yeah, I have to do mine. I've looked at them. For me, either out of Hartford or Providence. Providence a little closer for me, 35-minute drive versus about a 50-minute drive to Hartford. But it's Southwest, and they're both nonstops both ways. And I think we're looking at about 650 round trip. I don't know, maybe cheaper out of Boston being a bigger airport. But last
Yeah,
year,
mine was I was looking around $600.
yeah, last year it was 400, so it's
Really?
going up, yeah, quite a bit. And I may wait a little bit longer to see if they come down, but yeah, it's the flying is definitely interesting. I flew to the event in Milwaukee last year, and again, it's similar to Indianapolis or from Hartford to Providence. No direct flights to Milwaukee. It's a little bit easier 'cause you're going to Baltimore BWI, and with Southwest, you always have delays. And my flight coming back from Milwaukee was delayed because that flight was coming from Kansas City, and they were having tornadoes that day. In fact, the day I was in Milwaukee, they had all kinds of tornado warnings and sirens going off. Never saw a tornado, but that was interesting, knowing that you're going to get on a plane and there's tornadoes all over the place.
Oh, jeepers, yeah, yeah.
um, so my flight took off from Milwaukee late, and then I got into Baltimore. I was the only person on the plane going to Hartford, making the connection. So they were holding that plane up for me. Of course, they dropped me off in Terminal C, and I got to be in Terminal A. And here I am running. I don't know why I'm running because I know they're holding up the flight. I get over there, the gates open. There's one Southwest woman there, and I said, "Hey, I'm the guy from Milwaukee." She goes, "Uh, too bad." She goes, "Well, I'm sorry, sir, but you're not getting on this plane." And this is the last flight out of Baltimore for Hartford that night. So almost 11 o'clock at night. And I said, "What are you talking about? They held this flight for me." She goes, "No, sir, you got to go back to the front desk and figure it out." So I walked, it's like 30 feet to the front desk, and the woman goes, what can I do for you?" I said,
Yeah.
"Well, your person at the gate there won't let me on the plane." I said, "I'm the guy from on the Milwaukee flight." She goes, "Well, you need to get on that plane." So I go back. I say, "Well, tell your coworker." I get back down there, and she's like, "Nope, you're not getting on this
Ugh.
flight." Meanwhile, I didn't know it, but the pilot had come out, and he was standing behind like a pylon or whatever, or a
Yeah.
little, and he heard the whole conversation. He stepped out. He said, "Sir, come with me. We're going down." She looked at him and said, "He's not getting on the plane." He goes, "I'm the pilot, and he's
What
getting
what
on the."
was the big deal? What was she so adamant about?
I was a no-show. I was coming up as a no-show on the computer, and the pilot's going, "He got on the plane in Milwaukee. He's in the system. He's not a no-show." He goes, "I have, you know, they're telling me I have to hold this plane up for this passenger." He goes, "I've got 138 people waiting to go to Hartford. We're leaving."
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And he got her name, and he apologized to me. He said, "If that was me, I would have, you know,
yeah,
lost it." And I said, "Well, it's funny." I said, "I almost pulled out because I travel. I work for Homeland Security, and I almost pulled out my Homeland Security badge and pulled that card." And I was one more thing out of her, and I was gonna say,
yeah.
"You really want to go that way?"
Right. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's why I try to get direct flights. I just
yeah. I haven't had luck. The first one of the first flights I ever took, I was coming home from California, and we stopped in Dallas. And the flight was late getting into Dallas, and we landed, and they're like, "Anybody going to Boston? That flight's leaving in 10 minutes." And we were on one side of the Dallas airport, and I felt like we were O.J. Simpson with a Hertz commercial running through the airport there, jumping over suitcases and knocking over old ladies, but we ran. We weren't in Dallas more than 10 minutes. We landed, we get off, we ran to the plane. We were the last people on, but we get on it, we got to Boston. Our luggage didn't make it, but we got home. But so that was one. And then the other one was when I went to Vegas one time with the wife for a work thing. We took like a Friday night flight. Flight didn't, the plane wouldn't start. So we had to get on a different plane. We landed in Phoenix, and we had to wait while the plane that was going to Vegas we were supposed to be on took off. So we had to wait for them to take off so we could pull in. And we pulled in as like, we're supposed to be on that. And they fought with us. Oh, there's no more flights. There's no more. I says, I got to be in Vegas. And so so they put us the last two seats on this last flight to Vegas. Again, it's a 20-minute trip from Phoenix to Vegas, you know.
yeah.
But yeah, we're on a connecting flight, and we get in. It was like 3 in the morning Vegas time, which was 5, 6 in the morning our time. We'd been up all day, so that's how our trip started in Vegas. So it's like after that, I was like, no more connecting flights. It's got to be direct. It doesn't have to be first class, but it's got to be direct to do that because it's just so stressful. Just trying to get from one place to another and getting your luggage out and the whole bit. It's like, oh my gosh, it just the hell with that. So I go direct.
Yeah, I
It's
did
just
once. Once I had to make a connection in Atlanta. Don't ever go through Atlanta. Oh my God! You go from one terminal to another. You have to take a subway train
oh
to the.
jeepers.
And I mean, it's incredible how big that airport is.
Hmm.
It's like,
Well,
yeah,
that's the big hub for like all the shipping companies and FedEx and everything, UPS.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the big one, Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they got like 6 runways, parallel runways, and they have a plane landing on every single runway, like every 30 seconds and taking off. It's
Oh yeah,
just
yeah,
it's
yeah.
incredible. You can look out your side window and you can see planes like alongside of you coming down at the same time
Yeah.
on the next runway over. It's crazy.
Yeah. Todd, yes, I believe we're going back to Canton in August. I think that's the plan anyway.
That's the plan. I want to see Eli Manning's Hall of Fame induction banner up on the side of the building.
Well, that makes one of us. So good for you. I'll be playing games in the room. So, but you can.
Coming from a Patriot fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alan says so. Right, our philosophy on flights is once we go up, we go down once. No connecting flights.
Yeah.
It's just yeah. It sucks, And again,
Mm,
especially when you have a huge layover, you
oh,
know, when you got a monster layover, that's when it really kind of stinks, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I got a 3-hour layover here. It's like, oh my gosh, It's
Yeah.
like so. And Dave Little stops by.
Hi,
Hi,
Dave.
David. Hopefully things are going well with you. So yes, well I'm booking my flight and again. I don't mind paying a little bit more to save me a lot of aggravation, a lot of stress. That's just how it is. Yeah, so I won't be going to Indianapolis with you, which is too bad. But I know we got I'm actually supposed to be going to Colorado in March for some roller hockey finals. I think I've kind of committed to that, unfortunately. Again, I get the travel anxiety. It's like, but I think what'll be good about it is because I'm the guy that's sending me out there is he's going to stay over at right at the airport, so he'll be able to drive me to the
Oh,
rink and back. So I don't have to worry about any of that. So he's actually booking all my flights too. So he's trying to book around his flights too, because I think he's out of Philadelphia. So we should be able to kind of do all the commuting. So I don't have to worry about getting around. He's going to take care of that. And we're actually going to try to get to a Colorado Avalanche game too while I'm out there. So that should be kind of fun. So and the thing is too is so I'll be out in Denver at the airport and I'll get a lay of the land. Yeah,
yeah.
that's the other thing. So I'll get a lay of the land of the airports, and when I go back out there in June, I'll okay, I get an idea what's going on here now. A little bit of familiarity with it. But yeah, looking forward to that. Looking forward to May. So I got to travel in March, and then May, and then June, and then August. So it's going to be a busy year. Hopefully, it'll be a busy year with gaming. Should have a fun time with all that stuff. I'm hoping. If it goes,
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
so if it goes well, that's going to be the plan. I'm trying to think what else was going on here tonight. Oh, you want to hit some? I posted this on Facebook earlier. It was kind of wild. So I had the TV on. I don't know what channel was on, but just whatever channel. No, it was the Weather Channel. We had the Weather Channel on because we're trying to see what's going on with the snow coming out here, and
Yeah.
we're supposed to get a lot of snow Sunday. But it's just kind of fun to kind of look and see what's going on around the country with weather and the whole bit, and seeing where the snow's coming from and where the Arctic air and all that other stuff. So we just something mindless that we had on tonight. So I'm sitting on the couch and I got the iPad, and I'm on YouTube and I'm watching that channel I was talking about, the football channel. I was watching some old those playoff highlights, and they show like highlights of every playoff game. And I think I was it was either late '60s, early '70s, and I forget, like I say, exactly what year it was because I watched like 5 or 6 of them tonight. And the TV's on, and I'm on my iPad, and it's showing the highlights, and it's got music playing on the iPad, and it was that Chicago song, do
Uh,
and then it's like the wow wow wow. That whole so it's playing this solo, right? Because it was all music, and so it's playing the football highlights. I'm like wow 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 right in the background, and then it was coming from the TV too, and I'm like what's going on here? So I pause the iPad. I'm like I'm still hearing this damn song, and I put the iPad and I'm hearing two of them. The commercial on the TV was playing the exact same song I was listening to on the
wow.
iPad. I
What are
mean,
the odds?
I was kind of freaking out a little bit. I'm like, this is completely weird. This is so weird that, and I kept pausing the iPad. I'm like, no, I'm hearing the song, and it was almost in the same exact part of the song, like the solo was like wow 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 wow, and it was just and I'm like, oh my gosh, the same exact song at the same exact time on the iPad and on the TV. And I looked at the wife. I says, "Are you hearing this?" She's like, "What?" I says, "Listen." I go, "I'm watching a video on YouTube that's probably been on YouTube for years, and then the song that's playing is exactly the song on the commercial at the exact same time." Yeah, and Alan's right. It's the solo from 25 or 624. Yes, that's what it was. It's exactly what it was. But it was just like, holy cow. It was like
Yeah.
weird. He has some things that are just so dang weird. That was it. That was
Yeah.
so weird. I
Wow.
was like, oh man, that was crazy. And Alan says, I love when they offer the wacky 2-seat flights like Orlando to Philly via St. Louis. Yeah, yeah. I also think it's kind of funny too. Like sometimes back. I don't know if they still do it, but back in my day. Oh, hang on a sec. I got music for that. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but back in my day, they got some new sounds on here, so I have to play some of the sounds. You know what I mean? Sorry, someone's.
Hey, man.
UPS is here. Another package from Appa.
Uh,
But back in the day, they used to you used to be sitting in the airport like, excuse me, passengers, we're overbooked on the flight to from Boston to Orlando. If anybody would like a $500 voucher to skip this flight, please come up the front. So they would announce that, and all these people would like race up to the front and miss the flight to do that, and. I almost did that one time. I was flying alone. It's like, should I go take advantage of this or not? And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not going to take advantage of it. And I'm kind of glad I didn't because the flight was like delayed or something like that. And my flight get right out, and the other one like had a problem. So, but we always did that one time. I think we went down to Orlando one time and they did that. And I looked at the wife, like, what do you think? Should we take the $500 cash and take the next flight in 3 hours? She's like, nah. She goes, I don't feel like sitting around for 3 hours. Like, yeah, you're kind of right. So we'll let someone else do that. But they used to do that back in the day. I don't know if they do
Yeah.
that anymore.
Yeah, we did that. It was about 15 years ago. My wife and I went to Vegas, and we were taking the red eye back home, and we really didn't have anywhere to go the next day. And they were looking for people to give up their seats.
Yeah,
And we
that's
said,
what it is.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, sure, we'll do that. Well, as it turned out, they didn't need our seats, but because we offered, they upgraded us to first class from Las Vegas to Hartford, which was like, wow, this is cool. We had a meal with real silverware, and it was just like, wow, this is I get used to this.
Nice. Oh, I found
Yeah,
my windscreen was on the ground here. Yeah, that,
yeah,
yeah, that I might do. It's like, hey, if wait a couple hours and get on first class. Yeah, I might do that.
yeah.
I might do that. I kidded with my buddy that's flying me to Colorado. I says, I only go first class. He goes, I might be able to do that for you. I was like, oh, geez,
Oh,
just get me to the airport into the hotel, and I'll be happy with that, Um, but yeah, so that was kind of freaky tonight. I was watching those highlights there. Excuse me, and that song come on. That was the same song that was playing during the football video. I was like, oh man.
wow.
Alan says they still do that. They heard that on a trip last year. So,
Yeah,
but I'm looking forward to this year. I'm looking, trying to get out of this winter here again. Our winters have not been bad over here. I don't think you're in the same weather as I am, so I don't think we've had terrible winters with
yeah.
snow and cold and stuff.
You've
This
had more.
winter's been very cold, very cold. I guess one of the reasons I've been taking a lot of time off from hockey is just, any excuse I get to not go to a rink. Because I'm at a rink, sometimes 6, 7, 8 times a week. I'm going to a different rink, and it's just cold in there. And so like it's just been last week especially was freezing. I remember going to the rink and just like being frozen. I went down and sat in the office for like 10 minutes at a time just to try to warm up at the rink because it was just too cold to be standing around and running things. But so I'm kind of hoping to just get out of this winter here. But boy, it's been cold and we got more snow coming. Every time they say we're going to get an inch of snow, we get 6. So I got a plan for that. I bought a new shovel today so I can get ready to shovel on Sunday.
Yeah. We've had 3 dustings down here, and that's been it since Christmas. A dusting here and there, but I guess they're talking 4 to 6 inches for us Sunday into Monday.
Yeah, we're
So
talking the
we'll
same.
see.
It's
Yeah, we'll see.
our 2 dustings have been 5 inches, so and it's
We
just
haven't
been
gotten any of
crappy.
that. Yeah, ours has really been dustings.
And
Yeah.
then it gets cold too, so our
Mhm.
snow has still been here for the last few weeks. It's just usually we'll get snow in December, early January. We get snow, and then we get a couple 36-degree days, and it melts, and we're good. And that hasn't happened this year. I remember one time when I flew out to Vegas for a roller hockey thing many years ago, and it was in February. And it's like you don't book flights out of Boston in February or into Boston. And somehow we had a snowstorm, and I cleaned it up. And the next day, I got on the flight, flew to Vegas, and I was so happy to touch ground without snow because it was February. I was like, oh man, this is great. There's no snow on the ground. My feet are not cold. This is great. And then they had another snowstorm while I was in Vegas. And then the next day, I get on the flight, and I remember being in the airport, getting ready to go back to Boston, and I looked up at the board, and it was like cancel, 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 postpone, postpone, delay, delay. Boston was the only flight to get out. For
Oh
some
wow.
reason,
Yeah.
I went. out in between storms and I come home in between storms. But like I remember, like Minnesota, nope. You know, this Philadelphia, nope. Boston, good. And it's like I got so lucky that I went in and out of Boston without any issues at all in February. It's like won't do that again. No, no more flying in January, February. Even
Yeah.
March might be pushing. I'm wondering how the weather's going to be in Denver in March. You know what I mean? If they're going to have snow out there in March because it's still kind of like the borderline area. You know?
Yeah, it's funny. Keith talks about it. Where they are in Highlands Ranch, they don't get a lot of snow. It's the misconception that is Denver gets the city gets a lot of snow. It really doesn't. It's more in the mountains around the area,
Hmm.
and they'll get 4 or 5 inches of snow, and then it melts the next day. In fact, Keith last night in his show mentioned yesterday was 61 degrees, and Sunday they expect the high to be minus 16, a swing of 77,
Oh man.
77 degrees swing in 3 days.
We've had some of those. Like February, we'll get a 60-degree day, and then the next day it's 5, and it's like, oh my gosh,
Yep.
that is nuts. Let's see. Oh, nice. Alan got a free upgrade to first class. He was like on the Beverly Hillbillies. Caught a historical. Was at a hockey game tonight. Good for you, Kitchener Rangers. I used to listen to Kitchener Rangers on the AM dial back in the day. That was a good time. David C., thanks for coming by. Hopefully, we'll catch up with you this weekend. As I say, if I get some sleep tonight, I'm gonna get up in the morning, and then I wanna either hit the gym or I wanna hit the Yappa football in the morning, and then I wanna get back to my Yappa Master baseball. I've been enjoying that. Like so many things I want to get to tomorrow, but I that was the same plan today, and then I had a headache all day from not sleeping. It was craziness. We actually had 2 guys go to the hospital today in hockey.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was. It's an old man's league, so I mean we got some young guys, but it's all old guys like myself. And in warm ups, somebody fell, and they were laughing at him. They're like, "Oh man, somebody fell in warm ups." Oh, I don't know. And so we're playing the games, and it's like the end of the first period. I see all these flashing lights because you can see the front door from the rinks, and I'm out in the ice, refereeing the game, and okay, so I'm looking at the other rink, and I'm like, "Are they skating or is somebody down?" What's because there's fire trucks out front. And I look and I can see them playing. It's like, okay, now it's like, what is it going on here? And so, like, is it somebody in the office? Because I know my wife shows up Friday mornings, and then the manager in the office. I'm like, what's going on? So I told the other ref, I says, I'll be back. So I go out and I see my wife and the manager, and I go, what's going on? They're like, I don't know. There's like fire trucks out front. And we go into the other side in the locker room. The guy that fell, I think he might have tore his hamstring or something like that because he couldn't
Oh.
walk.
Oof.
So I says, are you all right? I says, is it your head or your heart? He says, nope, it's my leg. It's like, okay, legs and arms. Okay, we're okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I go back to the game to referee the my game there, and some other guy comes off the ice. He took a puck to the throat of the neck. He
Oof.
hit his stick and come up. And he's just like, yeah, it was kind of bothering me. And so I go, I told my wife, go grab the paramedics before they leave. So they grab them. The guy comes back in. He's looking at it. And he's like, you dizzy or this or that. He's like, no, it just really hurts and starting to swell up. He goes, yeah, get some ice on it. And he goes, you might want to go have it looked at. So he went up and he was having a CAT scan and trying to see if anything was bruised or broken or whatever. But yeah, it was a weird day today at the rink. And then I'm like, maybe I should not go back on the ice. I don't want to be the next one hurt. And friggin' 40 seconds left. The guy drives it up the boards, hits the back of the boards, hits the back of my leg, and I got no padding there. I'm like, oh, come on. It's 10-2, and you hit me in the back of the leg. He's like, oh, sorry. I thought I could shoot it behind you. Yeah, well, you didn't.
He didn't.
At least it didn't hit me in the
Oh
foot,
man.
It could come off the boards, and it just hurt for a little while. But I was like, oh man,
Wow.
you
Wow.
know?
Yeah.
Oh man, what can you do with that? But so Michael, have you ever played any hockey games actually on the tabletop or anything?
Yeah, I play Shootout. That was one of the games that I ended up getting after watching you play it. And it's Shootout, and what's the other one? Kind of.
Hockey Blast?
I have Hockey Blast. I still have not gotten that game on the table uh, for some reason. I'm trying to think of it's Shootout, and what was the other fast, quick game?
Oh, Stone Cold.
Stone Cold.
That's another good one. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the two that I've played. I just haven't gotten a chance to get Hockey Blast because I'm so involved with History Maker baseball. You know, that's
Yeah.
my game. Um, so I haven't. I have played Hockey Blast. I did play it out last year in Milwaukee. I played against Travis. He taught me how to do that, and I bought the trays so you can make your line switches
Oh yeah,
already.
yeah, yeah.
I got his trays, so I do. I really do have to get that on the table and play that. And I've got a lot of play games that I just have not gotten on the table. I have Red, White, and Blue. I've played it at the
Hmm.
convention out and play,
I have it. Yeah.
but to actually play it here in my house, no, I haven't done that. I've got Hoops, the Prime. I have both of those. Um, what else do I do? I got during the Christmas Black Friday. I picked up the lacrosse game, which I assume is going to be pretty much kind of like the Hockey Blast. So I've got to get that on the table. Um, I have I did recently get APA Basic on the table and played that. And
What'd you think about that? Because that's a very different game than some of the other games.
yeah, I liked it. It was quick. I mean, it was real quick. And I think I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, and I guess you guys said I don't. I have an older version of the game that I picked up on eBay, and it only came with 6 teams or whatever. I think it's 95. But I was finding a lot of foul balls to the catcher or foul outs to the catcher based on the
I
table that
think
you use.
they if the in the newer version, I think they fixed that because if you're a 65,
Yeah, I
if
forgot what it was, what role,
yeah,
but
if you roll a 65, 66 is obviously the best. If you roll a
yeah,
65, technically that's the worst roll a lot of times in APA. So that would give you a 35, and a 35 was always a pop out to the catcher. But a lot of people said, "Well, we're getting too many pop outs to the catcher." So I think what they did, if you bought the newer book, some of the 35s now are like pops out to third, pop out to first. I think they're not all pop out to catcher. There's still an out, and it's still the worst roll for the batter, I believe.
yeah,
But it's not all pop out to catcher. I didn't mind it because I had it memorized. I'm like, oh, perfect. Pop out to the catcher. I
yeah,
didn't got to think about it.
yeah.
You
No,
know?
I liked it. I've got. I'm looking down on the floor here. I've got Stratomatic that I have to get on the table, either basic or probably do it with the splits because I like splits. So I guess I don't know what the splits is at advanced compared to I don't know.
Yeah, the basic is pretty much
It's
like
one side card.
one
One
side like Apple, where it's just
yeah,
there's no splits. It's just kind of looking at that,
yeah,
and you really don't look at anybody's arm. I don't think either. I think it's just kind of a
yeah,
it's the card. It's just look at the runner's card and the whole bit.
yeah.
And the advanced, that's when you get into a lot of the the arms and the outfield and the whole bit. And I'm kind of wondering now, Michael, is I've kind of as I'm new to this. I've only been doing this 6 or 7 years now,
Well,
compared to some people who've been doing it a
yeah,
long time. And so I'm new to the APA scene, and I'm in the strat scene. And so for me, it's like this is great. And people are like, oh, I've been playing that for 30 years. Well, I haven't. It's still kind of new. So for me, um, I'm I kind of like the basic games just work for me, especially with baseball, because I just I'm
mhm,
not a big I don't know all the ins and outs of that. But now that I've been playing for years, I start to expand my horizons, I guess is the best way to put it. Grow as a gamer, mature,
mhm,
evolve. I don't know what you want to call it. But I've been slowly pushing the envelope now, and playing some deeper versions of games. Like I have been playing the Master Edition of APA, and I took to it like without any
mm,
issues at all. And and with the lefty righty splits and the whole bit, which I tend to get confused with that. But for some reason with the APA, it it really, what I think it is with the APA Master is that at the bottom of the card, the APA card, you got the two numbers separated by the line.
mhm,
And it's the lefty number and the righty number. And you look at that, and sometimes someone will be like -7 versus a lefty, and then like +3 against a righty. So right off the bat, they're going to be much better against a righty pitcher. And
Yeah.
that just kind of made a lot of sense to me. So now when I look at, that's going to affect the pitcher rating in the master game. And that started to make a lot of sense to me. Whereas the other games, the lefty righty splits, I wasn't getting because I don't know baseball that well. And so now that I
Yeah.
started playing that, it's like, boy, I'm kind of interested in that. So now I'm wondering, since I've been playing the Appa Master and really not having a lot of trouble with it, if I could go and try to now go back to Strat and try the advanced,
Hmm.
maybe not the super advanced, but the advanced, and try the splits on that, and
Yeah.
the arm strength and the whole bit, because I really am enjoying, you
Yeah.
know. Like when you probably heard the podcast with Tebow as Dwayne
Yeah.
comes by. His ears must be ringing as we talk about Appa Master Baseball. Hi, Dwayne. Thanks for coming by. And and just the idea that I'm enjoying the lefty splits. I'm enjoying the arms too, which I never liked that before. I never like, oh man, it's hit to the field. I got to pull out the guy's arm. Either that, or I got to write it on the score sheet. I always
Hmm.
thought that was kind of a slog. But playing in the master version of the game, I thought it went pretty well.
Yeah, and I've watched your videos on it, and it's got me interested. And I'm saying to myself, well, I may end up ordering the master rule book. And what I have to do is I have to get a complete set. I only got like I think 6 teams that came with the game that I got, but I'd like to get a complete season and go with the master. I think I think I would enjoy it. Now that I'm getting into these different games, and again, I always heard, the master game, you don't want to do that and do that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then now
There was a
watching you, it's like, you know what? That looks pretty cool. You can see, and I like a little bit more detail in my game. So I like the lefty righty splits and things like that. If you're pinch hitting and you've got a guy on the bench that's a right hander who crushes the ball, against a left-hander, that's the guy you want to bring in. You don't want to bring in a lefty batter that's terrible. He only bats, 180 against a left-hander, where you got a right-hander on the bench that bats 280. You're going to bring that guy in. Just the smart move to make.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about Tebow about. It's like, what is the big deal? Because, like I say, I watched some. I watched a lot of videos on the Appa Master like a couple years ago, and people were longtime players like, oh, this is just way too much for me, and I don't know if I want to do this, and I don't know about this and that and the other thing, and so I really thought like, oh my gosh, what am I getting into? This game is going to be like ridiculous and the whole bit. And when I watched Tebow kind of explain it like step by step, okay, here's kind of the differences. Here's the hits to the outfield,
Yeah.
and here's the pitching grade, and here's this, and I watched him. I was like, boy, this is not difficult. I really thought like, okay, every roll I got to check the pitcher to see what he affects. You don't. There's certain numbers you look for. So when you roll the dice, you get that number. So right off the bat, you know if you're checking the pitcher rating or not. You know if you're checking the fielding rating or not. And sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's like boom, you're done. And other times it's like, yeah, it's a potential hit. How is this guy hit against, a lefty, or how's he hit against a righty? It's going to go to my grid. No change.
Right.
Sometimes there is a change. And I kind of welcome those changes because I've had a home run taken away and I've had a home run given to me, and that was super fun. You go in against the pitcher and you're like, oh boy, I look. Let me look at the. It's either a double or a home run, and you look at his card. He's got the letter
Yeah.
home run.
Yeah.
So I pitch it. The guy hit it deep, and it just kind of carried over the fence. Instead of dropping on the ground or whatever like that.
Yeah. And that's what makes the modern day baseball game, today's game, 23, 24, in the 20s, is you know you had back a few years, you used to have those 4-hour, 9 inning games between the Red Sox and Yankees because the relief pitcher would come in, face one batter. He was a left-handed hitter. They'd bring in a left-handed pitcher. Next batter was a right-handed batter. They'd replace that reliever. So, those games dragged on. You don't get that in today's game because now the reliever has to face three batters, whether he's a lefty or a righty. So, really makes it a little bit different compared to the older seasons in baseball where you're bringing in, you know, 8 or 9 pitchers. I mean, they still do bring a lot of pitchers in now because the starters don't go more than 4 innings or 5 innings. It's just the way the game has changed. But I play a lot of the older seasons like you do, 70s, 80s, uh, where, the starters went quite a ways, 7 innings, and then the relief
That makes it
pitchers
a little
come
bit
in.
easier for me too. Is when I know that if
Yep.
I'm in the fifth or sixth inning and it's 6-2, I'm not looking to take the guy out. I mean, he's going to go to 7 of the 8 innings, and
Right.
I go as far as I can, and I play it my own way, and I don't
Yep.
necessarily play it the
Absolutely.
way that should be played, but I have fun with it, and then I always I try to get him as deep as I can, and I'll get him into the
Hmm.
ninth inning sometimes, and I'll be like, all right, short leash. If he gives up
Yeah.
that one base run and he's coming out, which probably they would have taken him out before the inning started. But I like to play it my way,
Yeah.
and just I like
Absolutely.
to get the guy to go as long as he can.
Yeah.
And Alan says, based upon my happiness with Appa Master, I think I will now like the Strat Advance. A lefty versus lefty will have almost no hit columns 1, 2, 3. Interesting. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, I will have to check that out. Um, so looking forward to that. Let's see what else is going on over here in the chat room here. Again, thanks for joining us here. I just come on to say hi tonight and talk a little bit about, like I said, it was kind of weird that I was getting some heat for playing the Appa Master game, but getting kind of back to that, you were talking about, like I said, I watched a lot of videos on it, and I was like, I'm staying away from that. People are the baseball veterans, think it's too difficult or just it's too convoluted, and I didn't find that at all. I found it to be fairly straightforward. There's nothing that really hung me up at all, and it was just fun. And and again, if I want to play basic, I can still go back and play the basic.
Hmm.
I don't have to play master all the time.
Right.
So,
Right.
and hang on 1 second here. Whoop, whoop. We're in the studio mode, and let's see if we can add. Yeah, we're
How's it
speaking the
going, guys?
devil.
Hey,
What
how's it going?
did I
Good.
say, Dwayne?
How y'all doing tonight?
We're doing all right.
We're just chatting here. We were talking a little bit about the Appa Master game and how, Michael and I heard the same things about, boy, stay away from that. It's too difficult. And we chatted a little bit about this the other night, with you on here. And just, it takes, I think that what it is, Michael, is it takes a lot longer than basic.
Hmm.
Because there's different checks and there's different things and there's some math you got to do when it's hitting to the outfield, so it takes a lot longer. But for me, I don't know about you, Dwayne, but I love when the ball gets hit into the outfield and then you roll that extra die to see where the ball's hit. And, if you roll that 1 or a 2, it's hit right at the fielder. But if you roll that 5 or 6, he's got to go get it. And that's more chances for you to get the extra base. And that's where I think the beauty of the master game comes in.
Exactly. And like me and you talked before, APA isn't BSing you. When they name that game correctly, they want you to be a master at that basic game before you ever touch that master game. And that's where people complain about the amount of time to play it. They're not familiar enough with the game that they got to look up way too much and do too much math, too many rows that aren't necessary, that turns that hour game into an hour and a half, a 2 hour game.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because I can play it in 45 minutes. And I'm telling you, if you're very good at that basic game, your first game or two should be about like you're doing, about an hour, hour and a half. It's not a 2 or 2.5 hour game.
No,
Yeah.
I've only played 3 or 4 full games. And again, I was streaming on a couple of them, so I'm a couple of people like, oh, it took you an hour and a half to play that. Well, no,
It
it
takes
didn't.
longer.
It
Yeah.
didn't take me an hour and a half. I was on for an hour and a half, but I was talking to you guys. I was showing off my charts. I was going over how the game plays. I was not just playing. Excuse me. I was not just playing the game. I was doing a lot of other things as I do when I stream. And so I'm interested to see. And the other thing I've been doing too, Dwayne, because I'm new at it, is I check every hit that with guys on base. I'm checking to see what my chances are to getting to the base
Right.
because it's new. I suppose at some point, I hit the left field. I'm not going to see if the guy gets to third. Right?
But you
It's
look
just
and you see that 38 and you're like, ain't no way.
yeah,
With,
exactly.
yeah, with nobody. And the guy has a speed of a 15 or higher and he's on second, and a single might drive him in to right field. So why take the chance of getting him thrown out at third? And now there's nobody on in 2 outs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just like, yeah, I found the last game I played, I did that. It's like, okay, I hit the ball. It's like, okay, I'm holding. I got a slow runner. I got Rusty Staub. He's speed 5.
Right.
If I hit a single, he's going one base. I don't care where he is on the bases, he's going one base. Unless I roll that bigger number.
Right.
Um,
But then you have him on second base and there's two outs and the next batter is the pitcher. And you're like, I got like a 1% chance of that pitcher getting on base and
right.
keeping the inning alive. I might as well take my 20% chance of scoring him.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
and
mean,
that
that's
and
what's
I
great
think
about
that's what
the game.
makes that game super fun for me is
Exactly.
that you can do that. You're not just stuck with what the book says, which there's
Right.
nothing wrong with the basic game. Again, I
Right.
do like the basic game, but it brings into that, like Ron was saying, it kind of like the strat hockey. There's a lot more decisions in strat hockey than there is in apple hockey. In fact, there's no decisions in apple hockey really.
What I always said about the basic game, to me, the basic game is you're the manager. You're not the third base coach. You're not the outfielder. You're not the catcher. You're the manager. You make decisions on starting lineup, who to put in. But a manager doesn't sit in there and yell, throw the ball to third, throw the ball to
Yeah.
third to the
Yeah.
outfielder. He doesn't make decisions on if this guy's round in second. If he's heading to home, he's got a third base coach that does that. So the basic game is really a manager's game, and the master game is you being got your hands in
Yeah.
everything.
Hmm.
I can see because someone else brought this up the other day. It's like the master game is really for head to head because you're not only you running. Do I want to run to third base? But you're the fielder as well. And where am I going to throw
Yes.
it? So you are kind of playing against yourself. It's like, okay, well, if I go to third, well, now I know I'm going to third. So if I'm in the field, what am I going to do?
Right.
That hasn't tripped me up because I play football so much and hockey so much. I play all these games, and like Ron always says, as long as you're fair,
Right.
if you're fair with how you play, then there shouldn't be
Inconsistent.
any issue at all. Yeah,
Yeah, that slow runner's on your favorite team, you hold him, and that slow runner's on the opposite team, and you're getting him thrown out at third every time. That's BS. You're
yeah,
you're cheating yourself out of a decent, fun game, in my opinion.
yeah, and so that's just what I found is that you are playing against yourself, but I don't have a problem with that.
The only house rule I have with the master game, Dave, is I don't do cutoffs. I want,
Really?
yeah, if you know how that um you get the third column there and it's a 18 and you decide I'm going to send the guy to third on the throw. You
Hmm.
can, if you're playing even against yourself, if you're playing head to head and you say I'm throwing home and then you say I'm going to advance the runner to the third on the throw, that defense can then say I'm going to cut it off, and that cuts that number in half. So say
Yeah.
if it was a 36, now it becomes an 18. I have a house rule where I don't cut it off.
Really?
I
Huh.
always make them throw through just because of that reason. I don't want to be second guessing myself about it. So I
Yeah.
never cut the ball off. Every time I say I'm throwing the runner out at home or out at third, I don't try to cut it off and get the batter if I'm going to advance the batter.
Yeah, there's a few things like that I kind of what I try to do basically, and I think it's what we all do, just common sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't game the game.
Right.
No matter what game it is, you can game
Now,
the
when I
game
was
all day
12
long.
years old, Dave, I played APA.
Oh wow.
I, I, I would set up like in the basic game uh, in the old hit and run book. If you had a batter was a 11, I would put a strikeout guy behind him and hit and run. And a 13 was if the guy is an 11, he automatically steals second. So the strikeout guy would swing and miss, get a stolen base. Now you got a runner on second. And
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
I would move a guy up in the lineup that had no business batting behind that guy, really. And
yeah,
I played APA as a 12-year-old. Now I play baseball.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 But yeah, you could game the system with
Yeah.
any particular game like that. So I just go with what's more common sense. I look and I see what my chances are at getting the base, and between being safe and being thrown out, and then I kind of say, what would I do here in this position of the game? What would I do? Sometimes I get aggressive, and sometimes I don't, and then I just throw accordingly to the other base, and like I got my own system that I do. Again, I've only played a handful of games, so I imagine I'll be swapping that around as I play more, but. I've not run into a situation where I've been like, "Oh, this is terrible."
My
I've
favorite
not run into
part
that
of the master
situation.
game, Dave, is that the G, the H, the L, and the M, rolling that and getting that one or getting that six, and still not knowing if it's a home run or if it's a the double is going to be turned into a home run or the home run's going to get turned into a double. I love that part.
Yeah,
Deep fly ball to center field and
yep.
it's off the wall. He didn't quite square it up.
Yeah, I was just telling
It's
Michael
awesome.
that I had that happen to me where I got the I think I rolled a six, and I looked at the chart, and the guy had the M on the card, and that turned into home runner. And
Yeah,
I just thought that was the coolest thing because
yeah,
it really brings the pitchers now into the game, whereas in the basic game, the ABCD, yeah, they might take away a hit here and there, but when you look at the bottom of that card and the master symbols and you see the batter, and sometimes a really good batter just is horrible against a certain pitcher,
yeah. And
lefty or
even in
righty
the
pitcher.
master game, some fives and sixes get turns into sevens. So, uh, and if you notice, some terrible pitchers will turn hits in the outs where a decent pitcher won't, like a one in there two, they'll turn a seven into an out where a 30 won't. It's
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
yeah, that was kind of weird. I had
Yeah.
that happen the
And
other
that's
day
more or
where
less saying that he's throwing the ball so terrible that they can't square it up because they don't know where he's throwing. He's so inconsistent. And that's pretty cool.
yeah,
I like that.
I was gonna ask you about that because I had a situation where I think I had somebody on base and I got I think it should have been a triple, and when I looked at the pitcher, the batter was a positive, so that means the pitcher went down a couple grades. So he either
Right.
went down 1 or 2 grades, and it took away going down 2 grades took away the triple.
Yeah.
And I was like, how is that possible?
Yeah.
If the pitcher's worse, how? I mean, if the batter wasn't good against that, then it would have been a triple. But because the batter did hit good against a lefty or a righty, whatever it was, it took the triple away.
Yeah,
And I was like,
like I
well,
say,
I'm just gonna.
my way of looking at it, playing the game is you got that pitcher out there that's not Greg Maddux, that's not hitting his spot all the time, and you think you know where he's going to throw the ball. He's throwing that curve, and it's going to be on the outside. Instead, it don't break it all, and you jammed yourself instead of getting a double. Now you got a single because you knew the pitch, but he couldn't hit his spot, and it
Yeah,
looks like he tricked you, but he didn't. He just couldn't hit his
yeah.
spot.
I think that was, like I said, a complaint that somebody had. It's like, boy, why is a worse pitcher doing better than a better pitcher? But like I say, you have any storyline you want
Yeah,
around it. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, on that particular incident, on that exact number of the rating, the triple is gone. And so, yeah, I mean, I just like I said, it didn't bother me. But again, you can put any
yeah.
storyline around. It was just weird that a worse pitcher rating
And
would be
occasionally on
better.
the defense, sometimes a two is better than a one. Never you'll see a three better than a one, but
Yeah,
occasionally a two will get you an out, and a one will get you a single in certain situations. On the
yeah. It's rare,
yeah,
but yeah, it's
yep,
in there.
yeah,
Yeah,
occasionally, yeah.
I kind of like that. Let's see. Alan writes in, I bought Appa Master years ago and was intimidated by it and never used it. After watching videos from me and Tebow, he's looking forward to playing it. Well, let us know how you make out. It is not difficult. It's not difficult. And if you get into trouble, go to Tebow's video. And maybe this weekend, if I get a chance, I'll make some videos too and show you what I learned from Tebow. It's not difficult. And if you watch Tebow's videos, he goes over everything from the pitcher grades. The toughest things for me was the pitcher grades and trying to figure out when something might change. And then the other thing was the hits to the outfield, all those numbers. Um,
Yeah, just with the pitchers, it's just 1 to 11. If you don't roll 1 to 11, you don't need to do the math.
I think it's 1 to 12 and then 35 or something like that. There's only
Well,
certain numbers
12
you check.
is a defensive check, and it can become a hit, but it's not off the pitcher's grade. It's a defensive check you're doing with normally the first baseman. The first baseman's a real good first baseman. The pull hitter to right field won't get a single. He'll still hit into the double play.
Mm,
And a 35 is with the W. It'll turn the 35 instead of being a ground out the third, it'll turn it into
yeah.
a walk.
Now, here's one thing that Dominic brought up. He says he thinks it's the charts instead of getting most of the results right from the cards. And I think you do have to like going to charts.
But
Myself, I don't mind
if
it.
you know the number, you know the chart.
Yeah,
That's the whole key to it. I know when I roll a 29 and it is hit to the pitcher. I'll roll a 24, it's always hit to a shortstop. I'll roll a 30, it's to the left fielder. A 31's to the
Yeah,
center
you said to
fielder.
memorize that. Yeah.
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 So in a way, it is on the card. Now you don't know, depending on the fielding rating, you don't know if it's going to be a double play, if it's going to be a single, if it's going to be an error on certain numbers, but you know where it's hit at.
What I really like about the master game and the charts is that sometimes you get a result and it's a big paragraph and you got to go through it all, and some people don't like that. I do, because I like reading it where it says it's a hit here, or if you're a lefty batter, it's hit here, and here's your numbers if you're a lefty batter. So depending on who's hitting, that it's not the same result, and
Right.
I do like that. And then other times it's like if there's two outs, this happens. If there's one out, this happens. If the runner's fast, this happens. So sometimes you got to read the whole paragraph and say, okay, where do I fall here? Who's at the plate? What is their rating, and how many outs, and what's the situation? And that's going to tell you what happens. So instead of just you roll the dice and getting this one rating and that's it. You might have 3 or 4 different things that could happen on that play, and that's another thing I like. I like about the master game.
26 on the runner on seconds, like that. A 26 with nobody out and a runner on second is a ground ball to the second baseman. A runner advances. On a 26 with one out, it's a pop up to the third baseman, and the runner doesn't advance.
And that's I did. I
Yeah.
think I ran into something like that where I was like, okay, well, I have to look to see what's going on in the game. And I was like, oh, it's going to be a double. Oh, no, it's going to be a pop-up. I think that's the one I got.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that because it's like there's more things can potentially happen. And I figure with more results that can potentially happen, the game's not going to get stale because there's more things. It's not just like, okay,
Yep.
here it is, we're done. It's like, nope, there's what's the situation? So you get the result, and then it's like you get down the rabbit hole a little bit, and it's like, okay, what is going on in the game? That's what's going to decide what happens. I do kind of like that, but you do have to like the charts. But I liked having the charts with all those different results. I do. And Dominic says the bad thing about baseball, you can't steal when you want or try to score from third and a fly out. Now, well, that's where the master game comes in. Now, you can't steal whenever you want. There is criteria. Again, your game, your rules, do whatever you want. But the criteria is, fairly flexible on stealing. You have a chart.
Especially after the sixth inning.
Yeah, you get later in the game, and it's pretty
Yep.
wide open for that. But I think you can tag up on any fly out, right? You get the number,
Yep.
and then you look at the speed of the runner and then the arm of the fielder, and that's going to determine
Yep,
how many
your
chances
call.
you exactly, your call. And
Yep.
that I love that. And I check every time. That's why it takes me a long time to play, because I will roll to see or do the math to see what are my chances for everybody advancing a base and see if I want to take it. Because as I get along in the game, I'll probably skip some of those checks. But for me, it's fun, even if it's hit the left field. All right, who's got it? Okay, well, that's his arm, that's his speed. And the other thing that I've been doing since I've been playing the Master and really looking at all the speed and all the numbers and stuff is, if I get the tying run on second base late in the game, I'm going to my pinch runner. I'm putting the fastest damn guy I got on
Right.
second base, and I've never done that before. I've always
Yep.
just kind of rode what I got. But I'm like, okay, Rusty Staub's on second base. He's a 5.
I'll tell you, the one that always drives me crazy using the bats is in the post 61 is McGuire. Do you want to take that bat out of the lineup? And then you only tie the game up, and then in extra innings you don't got the bat, but
Yeah.
you might not
Yeah.
tie the game up if you don't pinch run for him because he's like a 5 or a 6.
Didn't Ron run into that when he played the Action PC All-Star game where he put in a guy to pinch hit and the guy got the tying hit, but then he went into the bottom of the inning and the guy that had never played catcher before had to play catcher because I
Yeah.
think it might have been Kuiper. That was the guy he did, but there was I forget who it was. Somebody you'd know if he had the name, but he's like, I got no choice. I need the pinch hit. I need the hit. He got the hit, tied the game, but there was no one left to play catcher. So he was. So Gus comes by. Gus says he's played his first game of season ticket baseball. Cleveland wins in the bottom of the 10th. He corrected that. The bottom of the 10th. He corrected that later on against the White Sox. Oh, that's the 84 Community Baseball Project. Fun time. He says, fun game, easy to pick. Yeah, it was. The first time I played season ticket baseball, I really enjoyed it. Have you guys played season ticket baseball?
No, I haven't.
I have. Yeah.
What do you think, Mike?
I like it. I don't play it enough, but I have played it and I do like the game. Absolutely.
I think they're the best looking cards as far as
Mm,
how they look. I like how they
yeah.
look. The players are. I always say Clay laughs about it, but I call them crisp and clean with no caffeine. They're just everything's on the card.
Yeah.
You know what everything is. You don't have to guess. It's all labeled. It's all color coded. And
Yeah.
it's just it's all right there. And I really do like that about the game. And I like how you can get really advanced in that game. You really can take that. There's a whole AI system built into that if you want to use it. So you can play against the AI if you want. The whole idea with holding players on and pickoffs and stealing, there's a whole process with that. Or you can just do a basic version of that. So I thought he did a great job of making it a light game if you want, but it really can get deep with ratings and the whole bit if you want to go down that road. So
Yeah.
I kind of like
It's
that.
it's funny. I got a kick. He mentioned today that his the 2024 season is now been carded, and you can get it in print or PDF. 1,926 players.
Crazy, isn't it?
If he mentioned, I guess it's the Marlins, the Miami
Keep going. I'll be
Marlins.
right back. Keep
Yeah.
going, Mike. I'll be right back. Keep going with that. 'Cause I want to
The
hear that story, but keep going.
the Miami Marlins this in 2024 used 41 different pitchers
Yeah, it's crazy,
during
Mike.
the
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
but he cards every single one. I think the set is it's pretty expensive. I mean, it's not really expensive. I mean, if you want 1926 players, I
right.
mean,
Well, what I
but
always tell people is it's not expensive if you play it enough. I
right.
always look at hours per whatever I paid.
Hmm.
However many hours, divide that in there, and sometimes I'm down to less than $1 per
Yeah,
hour that the game
yeah,
costs me. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it's
But
if
it
you
was just
if you played one game and put it away, then you might have been crazy for buying it. I wouldn't be buying another season.
Yeah, 1,926
Yeah,
players, and to hear that one team used 41 pitchers during the course of
Oh,
the season. That the Miami Marlins used 41 different pitchers during the course of the year. That's
yeah,
crazy. You know.
well, when you think about it with APA, we were talking earlier about how we like to play the older seasons. I love the fact that I play the older seasons with football and baseball and hockey because you get, I think with the baseball, it's like I don't know 400 or 500 guys, and with football, it's like 700 or 800. Or no 1,200 for football in the '70s, something like that. If you're doing everybody, but it's a lot less. And
Mhm.
if you go to the Apple website, the newer the season, the more cards you get, and the more expensive it is, and that's why they started to go with the extra cards at Apple. So I think it works out to be like 10 cents a card for Appa. So if I want to get a football game that's got 1,200 cards, it's $120. It's like 10 cents a card. And so when you start getting into the other seasons, it starts going up there. And especially with the baseball, I was looking at some of the new baseball seasons, and to buy the game and the extra cards, it's again you're talking umpteen hundred cards. It's
yeah. You're talking
unbelievable.
close to $200.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
Um, let me take a look real quick here at the latest season here, and let's see. So Appa baseball and baseball season card sets, and we'll go to the newer ones here. So okay, so the base set is 900. Okay, and that's 86 for Appa on the base set. Now if I go back to the extras, so what was it? 900. I said right, 900. If I go to the
yeah. 30 players per team.
okay, so 900, and they're going to add 554. So it's going to be
14.
1,400 and 1,450 players.
Yeah,
And it's going to cost you, oh boy, it'll be like 156 bucks. So
yeah,
that's about right. 1,550 cards,
yeah.
10
Yeah.
cents a card.
Right.
It's kind of how that works out if you want to play that seat with all the extras. And so now that is crazy. Now, if I go back to what Dave plays, okay, the '70s. All right, I'll even go back to the '60s. That '69 season, I get everyone. I get 849. It's almost half.
Yeah,
It's almost
exactly.
half. And that season, cost me yeah 886.
Yeah.
Again 850, so it's about 10 cents a card. And so I like the older seasons because it costs less. You know, and sometimes you get a newer season. Like I got a 2010 2011 hockey season. It's like that season the cards come in was so big, and you get the 70s. It's like because there's not as many teams. Gus said it was Andy Van Slyke was the guy that he brought in. Yep, Andy Van Slyke. Yeah, and he'll be telling that story forever. And Dom says he liked when Dave checked for dropping the ball, and it almost happened twice. Yeah, that's the other thing about the master game too is, and I always forget to check it, but I'm getting better at it, is that anytime you make a throw and the guy's out, you check to see if he drops the ball. And there was one time, I think it's
And to be safe, you'd look for an overthrow.
yeah, you look for an overthrow if he's safe, and I got to remember to do all that. But
I forget all the time, Dave.
there
Don't
was
feel
one
bad.
time it was coming home. I think it was coming home, and he was out, and I rolled on the chart, and I think I rolled like a 4, whatever it was, 4 to 21, whatever it was. If I had rolled a 521, that catcher with that exact rating would have dropped the ball. I was that close to him dropping the ball, so I was like, "Oh, I could see the snow cone, but it stayed in the glove." So, so I love it when it does little extra things like that.
Yeah.
I do like that. Let's see, back in the chat room here. Jeff says, what do you guys consider a cutoff number for sending a runner? I know a different situation dictates different choices, but is it 50, 66, or 75%? What do you guys think? We'll start with you, Mike. What do you think? What's your rule for sending a runner if you have the choice?
I would probably say right about in the middle, 65%.
Yeah.
I don't 50-50. It depends on the situation, but I think I would 65 would probably be my cutoff.
What about you, Dwayne?
Same as far as just definitely going to do it. Like you say, you get you get that runner Rusty stop down at second, and the pitcher's coming up, and you only got a 40% chance. That's a lot better chance of him scoring on that
Mm,
double than a single than it is him getting down to third and the pitcher getting a hit and driving
yeah,
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
a good point. Yeah, so
yeah.
it really does
But
come
like
down
I
to
say,
this.
60, about 60 to 65, I'm probably sending them almost every time, no matter what the situation is.
I try to feel it out, and I try to mix it up too. Again, I like to think I play fair.
Then
And I
another
think
thing I like to do too, just like you was playing those Red Sox with Evans. If Evans throws a guy out in the third inning, I might not run on him in the sixth because he's done cost me. Even though the
yeah,
percentage is the same, it's like, oh, you're not getting me twice. That old saying, get me once, shame on you. Get me twice, shame on me. I'm not doing the shame on me part.
Yeah,
hmm
And
and I think that relates to real baseball
yeah,
because generally, if somebody gets thrown out early by somebody that's got a great arm,
yeah,
that's it for the rest of the game. That
yeah. And
manager's not
truthfully,
taking it.
sometimes in the seasons,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
other teams won't run on you at all if you do that a couple times during the beginning of the year. It's like, don't run on the guy.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's where it becomes fun, because
yeah,
you start to think about that stuff. You're like, yeah, I don't want this guy throwing me out twice, and
yep.
once in a while for myself, I don't have a number per se. Obviously, if it's something ridiculously low, I'm not gonna. But once in a while, and Tebow's like sitting over here on my shoulder right now. By the way, talking to me right now because I can hear Tebow saying, "You need to do this to keep the stats, realistic, and the D player's gonna steal, and you got to bring in the D pitcher." And so Tebow's over here saying, "I got to do this stuff." So so what it is occasionally when I get a hit and I'm looking at and this is mostly the master um, app of baseball. Once in a while with season ticket because you can try. You have the choice in season ticket. I think even payoff pitch you have some choices. Sometimes, and you got a slower runner or you got a terrific fielder, the Dwight Evans, if you will. And sometimes I'll have a less than 50%, maybe a 30% chance. And once in a while, not all the time, once in a while, I will take the chance. I'll be like, you know something? The heck with it. Let's try it. We're down by 4, or we're up by 4, or just once. I just want to see what would happen. You know what I mean? Normally I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't play these percentages, but what the heck? What the
I
heck?
tell you,
And,
a guy that's good at doing that, and he's right. A lot of Ken Castro. He's very aggressive on the bases, and he's right a lot of times. He gets on me all the time, and I always tell him I'm Earl Weaver. I'm not Whitey Herzog. My favorite play is go to first, go to second, and get that
Get the
three
home
run
run.
homer, man. Yeah, and he's Whitey Herzog. You run at all costs, man. Yeah,
But
and
I
he's
tell you
good
that
at it.
the few times that I've gotten a little crazy, and I've had the guy run when you probably no one else will, and you see, let's just say you need an 11 to 22 or something like that, really low roll. It's basically six chances out of 36 or seven chances out of 36, and you hit it. It is
Oh, it's a
so
good
cool
feeling,
when
ain't
you're
it?
like it's like you can picture the guy diving in and like, yeah, made it. There's a little bit of
Yeah.
satisfaction there.
Yeah.
Or
Let me
you can
see.
see the fielder not paying attention, and he's like, "Gotcha, boy."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I went to a Red Sox game one time. I used to go to Red Sox when I was a kid, and Rick Burleson hit a single up the middle, and this was just a June July game. Whatever, 78, 79, 80, whenever it was, and he hit a single up the middle, and he didn't stop, and he went around first base flying, and the center fielder comes in,
Mhm.
picks it up, lobs it to the shortstop, who's like 10 feet away from him. You know what I mean? Going out to cut it off. And Burleson turned and he went into second base. He got a double on a hit up the middle because they were lollygagging,
Yeah.
gagging. And I was like, boy, that was a brilliant. And he, like I said, he could see him digging. He was going to second, out or not. He was going to second. And
That's
they
good.
must have saw something. They must have saw
Yeah,
how
he's
they was
sitting at
just.
that bench and watching that inning by inning, and like these guys ain't hustling, man.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's paying attention while you're sitting on the bench. Had to be.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, so I saw that happen. That was kind of cool as a
Yeah.
kid. Let's see, Texas Ag. Let's talk about this for a second here. He says we were talking about the prices for the app. He says that's way too much. Now, Dwayne, you said something a few minutes ago that you said, yeah, if you buy that season and you spend $150 on that season, you play one or two games. You're right. But if you were to play that season, and you say you played 100 games,
Yeah.
break that 150 down.
And
Let's just say
it
say you
took you an
play.
hour to play.
Let's just say you play 150 games. Let's just make the math easy. So you spend $150 and you play 150 games at basic. Okay, it's $1 a game at that point. You know, would you guys think that $1 per
I even
game
go
is?
further, Dave. I go by hours, and I compare me sitting in a movie theater spending $20 on a movie for 2 hours, and now I'm got it down to it's costing me $1 to play this game for 2 hours.
Hmm.
I mean, it's some of the cheapest entertainment. If you play it enough, it's some of the cheapest
Yeah,
entertainment you'll ever
Yeah.
get in
yeah.
life.
I
Yeah.
get it. I think it's how you look at it.
Yep.
It's we all have our games, and I know Michael goes crazy on Black Friday, and I went crazy on Black Friday, and I got some seasons I haven't played, and teams I haven't played yet, and a couple of games I haven't played yet. But I think the thing is that so I bought the 1975 football season for Appa, okay, and it's $122. I think I've already played a couple of games. It's probably taken me 2.5 hours, so say 5 hours. I'll get into that. I've had 5 hours of intense fun
Right.
with that season, and you know something? I still have that season in the closet if I want to pull it out and play more. So I look at the 5 hours. If did I get $20 an hour worth of joy out of that, or $25 an hour of joy? I absolutely did.
Yep.
I absolutely did. And every game I play, that number decreases. You know what I mean? It's cost me less and less and less to play that game. Now, again, I got some seasons I haven't touched at all, and okay, I haven't touched that, and that's been money that wasn't well spent, at least right now. But I mean, if you're gonna, and but like Dwayne, you were kind of saying, go in the movie theater. Well, have you guys ever been to a baseball, hockey, or a football game? A
Right.
professional one, not the minor league,
Yeah.
professional one. I get people all the time selling Bruins tickets, and they're like, oh, come sit here, $150 a seat.
Right.
I'm dropping $300 on tickets, and that's not including the time it's going to take me to get there, to park or
Parking.
take the train and get something to eat. So I'm
Right.
I'm into this for probably a minimum of $400 a night to go
Yeah.
to one game, and then
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
and it's over. That's
Yeah,
it. It's over.
that's for me when I go to MSG to watch the Rangers. I'm 2 hours away, but by the time you pay for the ticket, take the train in from Connecticut down to Grand Central, get something to eat. Yeah, you're spending three, four hundred
Yeah.
dollars.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now you have a good time. It's
Oh
like a
yeah.
vacation.
Oh,
It's
I mean, you can't
it's an
beat it.
experience, and it's something you enjoy. But again, when you go back and it's over with, and so you can talk about it for a while. Hey, what a great game I saw! But you don't have anything physical in your hands. Whereas this, you still have the stuff here. You still have the game in your hand to play. And so that's kind of my argument behind it is and we've talked about this on the show many times. I know people that have like different collections. One guy I know has a bunch of records. He's probably got thousands of dollars worth of records. Can he sit there and play all these records all at the same time? No.
No.
But he's got $1,000 worth of records, and anytime he wants to go put on, this band, he wants to put on a Doors first album, he can go put on the actual album and listen to it and get his enjoyment out of it. And he's got a collection of it. I know some people, that collect pinball machines and things like that. My buddy Ray, who does the rail fanning there, he's got people that have thousands of dollars in toy trains.
Hmm.
You know? So,
Yeah.
oh boy, it looks like we're going to be ending the broadcast here. Oh no.
What?
Oh no, why is it going to end? No?
We're not seeing anything on this side.
Yeah, me either.
I don't know, because maybe it's a 2-hour limit. It said the live
No.
broadcast was going to. Did it say end? I don't know. Are we still here, people? Did we survive?
Yeah.
Is this like war games? Are they messing with me? Because
No,
a little
we're-
timer come up on my end and says broadcast is going to end.
No.
So
We got a little clock here that says 2 hours, but
yeah,
it's
I had
going
something.
up. But
I had something on my end that comes says broadcast is going to end in 6 seconds, and it counted down to. It only gave me like 6 or 8 seconds. I'm
Yeah.
like,
no.
so I'm on the pro plan. I should be able to go for a while here. So if we suddenly get cut off, folks, then it's not my fault. It's just, again, I'm still learning the software here. I didn't think I had a time limit on this. But no, we're still here, so we'll talk until they kick us off here, and I'll have to research that. I didn't realize that. I didn't know if there was any kind of limit at all. So I guess we're still here, so that's good. So we're still here. I kind of feel like it was at that War Games. It's like, well, we're still here. We're still here.
Still here, yeah. That's a good movie.
Yeah.
That was a creepy movie, though. It really was,
Yeah.
But everybody has their everybody has the thing. There's a guy that I play hockey with that collects cars. I'm like, holy cow! I mean, you only can drive one car at a time, but he collects cars, and he wants to take out the Cadillac. He takes out the Cadillac. He wants to take out the Mitsubishi. He takes out the Mitsubishi. Whatever he's got. Good for him. Oh, so let's see. Ags gets back and says, I think I paid something like 110 for one app a season. And that's my limit. Well, again, everybody has their limit. And myself, I would probably not spend $150 on a new baseball season because I don't follow the new baseball and I don't watch the new baseball, even the hockey. I don't do much with the newer seasons or anything like that. So for me, I'm lucky that I like to play 60s, 70s, and 80s and a little bit of 90s because it's a lot cheaper for me because there's less guys, there's less cards in the whole bit. Yeah. And so for me, that works out. But, there's some seasons that are a must-have for me. In baseball, football, and hockey. And so I've spent the money on those, and I'm going to get my money's worth out of those. And then, you buy the fringe. Every now and then you buy something that's out of your comfort zone. I imagine you guys do that, too. It's like
Did you ever
something
hear the thing about this guy researched it, and he says, I can almost predict what your favorite season in sports was. And he asks what year you was born. And it's always, he says, around your 13th birthday. That's your favorite baseball, football, and season, and it comes out.
Yeah,
It's
it comes
amazing.
out pretty cool. Yeah,
Yep.
Mine's
And he had a
11.
theory on it. You're old enough to know the game, and you're not into girls and all that yet.
Yeah,
He says it's right in that wheelhouse.
Ron always says 14.
Yeah,
I find for myself it's between 10 and 12.
yeah.
Those are the ones that I really enjoy. In fact, when I've been sitting here on YouTube today, just kind of spacing out, and I go back and I watch, the late 70s, early 80s, this week in the NFL, and it's like in Green Bay. Harry, that was it, Harry
Yeah.
Callis or whatever it was. Those are just so good. And but those that's what I remember. Those were the years that I remember. I could remember watching those shows.
Homersberger, you are looking live in
Yeah, I mean,
Veterans
Yeah,
how
Stadium
often do
yeah.
in
we all say that?
Philadelphia.
You are looking live at RFK Stadium, where
Yeah,
today the Redskins take on the
yeah,
Eagles, and that's what
yeah,
it was. You're right. That
yeah.
for us, that's what it was, and so those are the seasons I play. So when I get my hockey, baseball, and football, those are they're right there. But every now and then I like to jump out of the comfort zone. Like I
Yep.
picked up 69 for a payoff pitch and for APA. And I want to play the Pilots. I do. I want to play the Pilots. I like those crazy teams. I want to play the expansion
My
part. Was
buddy
it?
played that with Status Pro.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, the pilots and with Status Pro.
Okay.
He
Um,
enjoyed it.
now that's the. I think it was the Pilots, the Padres, the Expos, the Royals, right?
Royals. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Now I didn't realize that. Again, so that's something I learned by getting a new season, and I'm still listening to Ball Four by Jim Bowden. And so I have that on. Like I'll put it in the car when I was going up to the rink. I had that on in the car. He's mostly just telling stories, is what it is. It's like 14 hours of him telling
I remember
stories.
when that book came out. He was
Yeah.
hated. when the
Oh
book came
yeah,
Oh yeah,
I can
yeah,
tell why people would hate it because he calls out a lot of people in the book, and
Yeah,
this
he
guy was
talked a
this and
lot
this
of
guy
clubhouse
that, and
shit that they didn't want anybody knowing.
yeah, this guy's going out in the stands and looking up the skirts of the girls and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and yeah, it was something else.
yeah. My first Red Sox game
He
was
looked up
that I
your
went.
skirt in your first Red Sox game.
No, no, my first Red Sox game was at Fenway. Was against the Seattle Pilots in '69.
Yeah.
I was
Cool.
12 years old. Because
Holy cow!
I told this story to somebody. The first one of the things when I don't know if it wasn't that game. It might have been. Yeah, my favorite player, Talia Spencer, corner of the dugout, smoking a cig.
Oh Jesus!
And as a kid, I was like, Dad,
Mm.
he's smoking a cigarette. But
Yeah,
a lot of players did.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then in college, when I was in college and I went to school in Boston, it was Bill Lee, the spaceman, out in the bullpen, and he wasn't smoking a cigarette. Oh my God! They didn't call him the spaceman for a reason.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Earl Weaver with old Stoddard, he was his 6 pack. He smoked 6 packs of cigarettes when he was out there pitching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, let's see. Jeff says Dwayne breaking down it by hour does help justify the cost.
Hmm.
I think it does. For me, it does.
Yep.
I look around at all of my boxes of seasons for whatever game I got, and I look over here at in the seasons over here, and it's like, if I could look over in the shelf and say, I played 3 or 4 games of that season, and I got some fun out of that, that's what I look at. It's like, I had some fun with that. And again, I'm not buying every single season everybody has. I'm pretty selective about what I get, but there's different reasons for what I get. Like I say, 69, I like the expansion teams. That's my thing. So that's why with hockey, there was a lot more turnover in hockey in the 70s than there was in any other sport for the most part. But but I have to get, I'm probably going to pick up 77 APA baseball at some point. That's my next buy because I want to play the expansion. The Blue Jays and the Mariners, right?
Yeah. They came in at 76.
Was it 76?
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure they came in at 76.
Oh, all right. So maybe it'll be 76 then. I don't know why I was thinking 77. But I like playing expansion teams. I just like playing the yucky teams and seeing how it goes. And no, I think it was 77.
Wasn't wrong? I thought it was 76. I thought it
Um,
was bicentennial when they did it.
yeah, no, it was 77 here.
Was it 77? Yeah, I thought it was bicentennial year when they did it.
Now, let me click on Seattle Mariners, and yeah, 77. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to get 77 because they were 60. Actually, something. The Oakland A's were worse than the Seattle Mariners that year. I mean, that's pretty bad when you gotta, and even the Atlanta Braves lost. I mean, won less games than the Mariners. Mariners won 64. They were not the worst team in the league. The Mets only won 64.
Wow.
Imagine that.
Wow.
Oh man, but yeah, yeah. Getting back to what Jeff says and about about this right here and what Dwayne says, it's a hobby. It's what we do. And like Replay Gamer says and Tebow says, we like to collect some things. We like to have the things here. And I was having a tough time at work, and you know that APA package arrived, and it's like, man, I got my 69 baseball, so I can play the expansion pilots. I got the 84 baseball to join that project, and I got my 77 football. So I got 3 seasons, and I was so happy when I got those, and I'm still happy that I got them. And I I then I got my things in. I got the envelopes in from Chris White, so I spent a night putting them all in the envelopes, and I enjoyed that. And now, like I say, I got a couple games I want to play tomorrow. Probably one baseball and one football, and I'm going to take out my new seasons and play them, and I'm going to have a heck of a time with them. And they're there now. I own them. That's the thing. It's not like you're borrowing them. It's not like you're renting them. They're yours, and you can sell them if you want. If I decide, hey, I'm not going to play this ever again, then I'm going to sell it. I'll just sell them. And get something back for them. So that's kind of my justification is to try to play them and do that. Let's see what else in the chat room here. And Jeff says, yeah, he goes, choose your favorite team about age 12. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's about right.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how it works out.
Yep.
Like saying his logic makes sense. You're old enough to understand the game, and you don't have many other interests. No girls, none of that
Yeah. Yeah.
running
Yeah.
around drinking and
Yep.
driving. You're not old enough to drive. It's that
Yep. You're just buying
perfect.
baseball cards.
Yeah,
You're on your bicycle, and that's what it
yeah.
is. And Dominic also says, I find if you have a bunch of seasons, it's a lot of fun to throw them all into a tourney. Yeah, you can do that too. That's one thing I
Yep.
haven't done. Do you guys do that a lot? Do you guys play different teams from different years against each other?
No, I'm mainly a season replay guy.
What about you, Michael?
Yeah, well, I just finished that 73 versus 98 History Maker baseball tournament. It took almost a year to get through, but yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Um, as expected, the 98 Yankees ended up winning the whole thing. But it was a surprise, though, because the 98 Phillies came out of the National League side, a team that only won 75 games that year.
Yeah.
And they knocked off in best of three series. They knocked off the Braves and the Astros in back-to-back series to get to the finals. And actually, those were best of five series. They were actually down 2-0 to the Astros, 98 Astros, and came back and won the next three. So they really outperformed. It was one of those things never expected. I kind of expected either the Braves or the Astros against the Yankees, and it wasn't really a cakewalk for the Yankees either. They were pushed in a couple of the series early on, but yeah, that was a fun project, and that was the only one that I've done where mixed years and things like that.
Okay, yeah, I was just kind of wondering. Like I say, I only play within the season. I get this stigma about. I just feel like when you get a season that's carded, that season is rated, and I just have this thing in my head that if I were to take a team from the '60s and a team from the '90s, they were both rated for that particular season, and I don't know how they're going to work out when they play cross era. That's always been my thing, and I could be very wrong with that. Maybe that's not a good way to think about it, but
No, I think you're right. As
Yeah.
far as accuracy of stats, when you're doing that, it leaves a little difference. You got a guy back in 1960 hitting in Yankee Stadium when it was 400 and some feet to left center field, and now you're in 1978 Yankee Stadium and it's 400 and they moved the fences in. So
Mm.
you're still comparing it, but it's a little bit of apples to oranges.
yeah, I mean, I imagine that it probably works out, but I think football is the biggest one. If you took a team from the '50s and then play a team from modern day,
Yeah, the ground and pound.
it's
Mm.
too different. I mean, the kicking game, the passing game, it's just way too different. You just wonder. Baseball, I think, is probably the best one to do that because you look at basketball with the players and just the 3-point shots and the whole bit, and then you know hockey just with the equipment and the skating and just it's just a different game, the different
Yep.
rules and stuff, and the high scoring guys, and you don't get the 1-0, 2-0, slugfest. It's more skill now, but baseball's been baseball. There hasn't been many huge changes compared to the other sports. That's just kind of how I feel. So I think baseball would be the sport to do that in.
Yeah, and it was funny because the 73 pitchers were much better than the 1998 pitchers. I mean, when you're looking at cards and looking at looking at their stats and their earn run average and everything, but the 98 hitters just seemed to take advantage of the 73 pitchers, even though the pitchers were good. So it was kind of a weird outcome. I think I only had because what I did is I took each franchise. I had the 73 Yankees against the 98 Yankees and see who would represent the Yankees in the tournament. And I did that for every franchise. I think there were 24 teams back in 73. So I did that for all 24 teams. And the pitching, again, the 73 pitchers, Baltimore, I really thought would go a lot further than they did because their starting four was incredible. Uh, and it just didn't work out that way. I think I had only one 1973 team make it to, I think, the final eight out of, all the teams.
So reading some of the comments in here, a lot of people, yep, age
Yeah.
12, and that's when they were going. Um, well, Sean's going to McDonald's. Dun, 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 dun. We went to we don't do a lot of fast food, but once in a while you just get that craving. And there was a night a couple weeks ago. I was like, are you hungry? I'm hungry. I said, let's get something bad to eat. Just want something bad or something. I'm thinking like Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's. And she's like, yeah. So I got in the car and I drove down to the mall and like right on the strip there, there's everything. There's, the Wendy's and McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell. Any fast food place you can think about it is over there. And for some reason I went into the Wendy's and, I come home with a bunch of Wendy's and we had, burgers and fries and like half hour later, we both felt so awful. It's just like, what was I thinking? I feel terrible. Oh, Feder comes by. Good to see you, Feder. And he likes the Pirates hat. This is a new one. Yeah, favorite Little League team I played on. Yep. When I played, my first Little League season was Indians. I was on the Sioux. And it was kind of neat. We had an X at the end of the name. Everyone was like Yankees and Mets and Twins, and we were no, I'm sorry. There was Apaches and Comanches. This was all Indians, and we were the Sioux. And we were the only team without an S at the end of our name. I thought it was pretty darn cool. It was the
Uh,
Sioux.
we were the DBs. It was the Darton Bogue Lumber, and they shortened it to the DBs in Little League.
Oh, I thought it was something bags, but no.
Because we had in our town we had corporate sponsors, so it
That's
was
what we
like,
did too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Ours
Darton
was
Bogue
dry
Lumber.
cleaning. They didn't clean our clothes.
Do you guys have Chico's bail bonds?
Yeah. Yeah.
We had sponsors, but I think I think we did have sponsors. Oh, do you know who my sponsor was? Merchant Apothecary. And as a 9 or 10-year-old kid, no idea what any of that meant. Seriously, I had no idea because the Crows were the top team, and the guy that ran that team was like Michael's Plumbing or something like that. But like on the back of our shirts, we had these maroon shirts that just said Sue, and on the back it said Merchant Apothecary. No idea what a merchant apothecary was at 9 years old, 8 years old. Still don't. Still don't. Maybe someone can explain that to me. And Z Dufferman comes by. Good to see you. We're just sitting there chatting here tonight on a Friday night, talking a little everything here tonight. Texas Ags is playing some season ticket football. I almost picked up 69 for that Ags. I did. I got to stay off YouTube. That's kind of crack. YouTube's kind of my crack because I sit there and I start watching. It's like I started watching like a half hour show on like the '69. Was it the Chiefs and the Vikings with Hank Stram mic'd up and the whole bit? And I watched like almost that whole game. It's like now I got to get 69 to play that.
Circulating down the field.
You know, was it 69? No, was it toss power 65 toss power trap? You know, whatever that
Touchdown.
play
It's a
they call.
touchdown.
Yeah, and they got the
Touchdown.
touchdown on it, right? And it's like the
Yeah,
guy,
and
the
he said
pulling.
it before. That's a touchdown. I told you it was a touchdown.
Yeah.
I told you it was a touchdown.
He had the name of the play, and I had it down too. It was like, toss 65 power trap or something like that. He's like, hey, toss 65 power trap. I told you we're gonna score.
Yeah,
It's freaking hilarious.
yeah. Him
So
and his
now it's
little
like,
toupee.
You know, the other
Yeah.
thing is too is I got this wicked Mandela effect in my head about like back in the day. Probably from Ron. You know, he's got it beat into my head that 70s football was 3 yards in a cloud of dust, right? So every time I go back and I watch highlights of games in the past, I'm like, what? Why are they passing? They never passed back in the day, right? Ron says it was just they ran all the time. They never would pass.
When
But
they
I'm seeing
did
them.
pass, it was 10 or 20 yards downfield. It wasn't a dunk. And that's what I liked.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
there wasn't a lot of them. Every now and then you see Tarkenton air one out or Staubach, but they were throwing the ball more than you thought. Like even when I go to Pro Football Reference, which is my other adult site that I go to. Me and Ron laugh about that. He's like, were you looking at that site today? I was like, yes. And I go and I just go back and I look at the games, I look at the stats, and I'm just and okay, I'm finding my next game I want to play in the whole bit. But I look, and it's like some of these games from the '70s and even the late '60s, like it wasn't like 80% run.
Well, look at Paul Warfield's average per reception back in those days. It was like probably one of his worst years is probably a 15 or 16-yard average. I mean, he was up near 20 almost every year, and when he caught the ball, it was downfield. Man, that's what I liked
What was
about
it?
it.
The game that I did might have been was the Jets Colts Super Bowl. I played in Appa, and one of the cards, I don't know if it was Earl Morrill or Johnny Unitas, whatever Colt quarterback I was playing, he has like a one on 2 or 3 places in his card, and which means it's a touchdown. Basically, a one on a pass is a touchdown. So I think it was like 11, 66, and 33, something to that effect. There's at least 2 ones in his card, which is basically an automatic touchdown, no matter where it is. And so as I looked at it, holy cow! And I think even in that game, he threw a 90-yard touchdown pass against the Jets in my Super Bowl replay. And Ron looked it up and he goes, "Well, you know something, Dave? He had touchdowns on, X amount of his passes. Like 5% or 10% of his passes were touchdowns. So they carded him correctly.
Right.
So but again, like Tebow would say, Tebow, get off my shoulder, Tebow. That you can't just have him throw 100 times a game and so he'll
Right.
get 10 touchdowns. That's game in the game, and we don't want to do that. But yeah, he did. I remember him.
Yeah, most of them probably max was around 15 on a normal game if they wasn't getting blown out.
Eggs. The way he said 65 toss power trap reminds me of Dave's first down. Yeah, I know. I don't even realize I do that anymore. I know. It's just kind of a thing, and I see other people do it, so I guess it's not a bad thing if I see other people doing it.
No, it's fun.
You got to liven it up.
Yeah.
I do that with hockey. You know what I started doing at hockey, and it's like I don't know if they're gonna get mad at me for because these are 18, 19-year-old kids. They're not adults, so to speak. And so we're playing the other night, and the home team was winning, and I was like, and the score at the end of one, it's the Cyclones 2, and the Rangers absolutely nothing. And I did that. I was like, oh man, I do it when I do my streaming here and just kind of have some fun with it. And it's like, oh man, hope no
Oh,
one's
boy.
getting. Hope the parents got to be. I'm not doing it. It just kind of comes out,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
so I do that now. So I find a lot of the things I do on my tabletop end up in the game, and I find myself doing a lot of Madden too sometimes. It's like because they'll sometimes we have replays and I'm like, now watch the replay here. Whoop whoop whoop! He just can't get this puck. It goes right between his legs. So I'd add all the sound effects. Like, now watch this hit. Boom! He gets hit big time in the corner. It's like, Start throwing the Madden stuff in there too. He was so good. He really
Oh,
was.
he was. Yeah, he was great. It's hard to watch football these days with the analysts that they have. They just, I
It's
don't know. They're all
it's
about themselves, more about themselves than the
yeah.
game. You know.
Well, I find what you got now is you got a lot of guys who call like every sport, and they're good. They're like the jack of all trades. You can put them into a poker game, and they could call that and be fine.
Mm,
But back in the day when you got the guys that did one sport or two sport, they just were good at it, and they got real good at their sports. And I
yeah.
and I enjoyed that, and just got used to those voices. And the color analysts were usually like either former players or just some guy they threw in, and sometimes they were stupid. But I think now you have everything's analyzed, and you got
Ugh,
27 people in your headset probably telling you what happened on the play. So I'm watching a highlight of like the playoffs there, the playoff channel, and that was like 1970 playoffs. And it's like, now here's the handoff to Dorsett. He goes, now watch the block here by number 42. you know, number 42. He's got a name. Like nowadays, it would be like, now watch this block by, Beasley Reese right here. It's not ever a generic guy. So back in
Right.
the day, they didn't know. They're like, now watch this block by 42. It's like, I thought it was hilarious because it would never happen nowadays.
no. Yeah.
It was just so funny how they did that. So he likes Troy as his favorite announcer. And okay, we got a question here. So we'll answer this one here. What is your opinion of buying APA seasons from brew folks like Chris White? I bought some from him. Dwayne, have you bought anything from Chris as far as that goes?
No, everything I've ever bought's been strictly from Appa
Yeah.
itself.
I will say this, that when I buy anything, usually anything, if the company has it for sale, I buy it from the company. I want to support the company. Once in a while, somebody will approach me and say, "Hey, I'm not playing this anymore. Would you like it?" And sometimes they'll give it to me, or we'll trade, or maybe I'll buy it from them. But I try to buy from the company. The only time I don't, again, is it's on the rare occasion when someone's like a listener of the show or whatever. It's like, "Hey, I bought this game, don't like it, have this season." And so I try to help them out. It's like, okay, I'll probably play it. Like I say, most of the time I buy from the company. The only exception is if they don't have the season in stock. Like they don't have a new version of 79 football yet. And, I almost bought that. I almost bought 79 Apple football from Chris White because I think he redid it or somehow he redid the season for the new boards. I have bought baseball seasons from Chris, but Appa doesn't have them. I bought 18.99 Cleveland Spiders. Okay, Appa doesn't have 18.99. I bought the very first season 1871. Appa doesn't have 1871. So again, I try to go to the company first. If they don't have it for sale or Stratomatic's out of stock, then I'll go and I'll look to people because I have bought some hockey and baseball seasons from private people because Strat doesn't have them in stock.
I've done that with
Mm,
Red, White, and Blue with Play.com. They don't produce every season, but a guy, Don Weed, he's produced every season that Keith didn't produce. And then when Keith goes back and does a retro, he then takes that off of the Delphi, so you can't download it anymore.
Oh, good, yeah.
And then and me being me, I then rebuy it for two reasons: to support the company, and I like to compare what Don's cards was compared to what Keith
Mm,
came up with,
yeah.
because
yep.
there's always a little difference in them.
Yep. Yep. And I've had some people send me their old games and their old seasons, and what I end up just turning around and buying it new from the company is what I do. So I mean, anything that I've ever got, the company still made money off of one way or another. So that my answer is that I like to support the company and the people that make the original game,
Mm,
except when it's not available. And so again, I bought a handful of seasons. Usually, it's the old seasons from Chris White. Because if you buy his cards are gorgeous, front and back and the whole bit, but they're a lot more expensive than the Apple cards because he does them up so nice. So if there was a season, the only thing I would buy from a guy like Chris is, let's just say that I have a season I absolutely love. Loved it, my favorite season ever. And I would, if I would buy it from Apple, but I'd also buy it from him, so I had the nice full color cards with the front and back and the whole bit, because that's my favorite season, and that's what I would do. I would buy it from him, but I'd probably have it with a company too. So hopefully that's the short answer for you. Jeff likes Kurt Gowdy. Yeah, Kurt Gowdy was good.
He was great.
I remember one time it was late in his career, and we used to be able to get we got channels 4, 5, and 7 up here: ABC, NBC, CBS. And once in a while, on a good Sunday, we could get channel 6 out of New York. I think it was. It was all fuzzy, and I don't even know what it was. But I one time I caught a Giants Seahawks game on that fuzzy channel, and Kurt Gotti was calling the game. And I think the Seahawks were up at the line trying to prevent the Giants from getting a 4th and 1, and the Giants guy busted through for the score. And it was Kurt Gotti on the call. And I was like, oh, those damn Giants scored. And Kurt Gotti's like, yeah, that's a touchdown. I can still hear Kurt Gotti make that call, But Summerall was great for football. Um,
I
and
like
then,
old Dandy Dan.
yeah,
Just
Dandy Dan was good. Yeah.
just giving Howard Cosell a blast of shit was worth listening to. Come on, Howie. Howie, come on, Howie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then all the guys grew up like Charlie Jones, because we got the AFC up here.
Charlie Jones, yeah.
Yeah.
And Don Cricky and John Brody were up here, and
What's his name? Al D. Regattas. He was good.
I don't remember who was the guy. I was like, oh my, Dick Enberg.
Dick Enberg.
Dick Enberg, yeah, I can always hear him going, oh my, And
Yeah, it was him and Merlin Olsen, I think, were the.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Merlin. Yeah.
You
That
know
was.
it's been kind of fun going back when I've been going back on my adult page for
I'll
pro
tell you
football. I've been
something
seeing
I
a lot of
always
the.
thought. I think those Raiders always made good commentary guys. Todd Christensen did a good job. Then they even had the twos. He did a good job because they
Yeah.
were opinionated. You might not agree with them, but they was opinionated.
Yeah. Yep.
Didn't give you the old company line all the time.
Right.
And Todd Christensen was well educated. He was Ivy League, so he was very articulate.
Yeah.
Summerall was good. Let me see, what does Jeff got to say here. Happy Friday, Jeff Harlow coming by. Interesting conversation. I tested his theory from earlier. It was on point. Born in '62. Loved the '75 Red Sox. Age 13. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty darn close. If it's
Yeah.
not spot on.
Yeah, it's
And
crazy.
remember when Apple carded Eric Dickerson at 29? But I think it's fun when I go back and look at some of the old football seasons and at some of the guys that played in the NFL, and I was like, oh man, that guy played. I remember him as only as like an announcer or an actor or something like that. There were some actors in the '70s and '80s that were pro football players, and there's a handful of guys.
Yeah.
That,
Merlin
Yep.
Olsen. Yeah.
Merlin Olsen, yeah.
Yeah. He was an actor.
Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he played football and he was on the TV.
Yeah.
And there's a few other guys too, and I'm escaping the name, but they played in the '60s, and I was like, I'm going through the teams, it's like, holy cow, this guy, he's the announcer. I didn't realize he played and things like that. Mike Adamley from was it NBC Sports? I think he played too. Mike Adamley,
Yeah. He played for the Chiefs, I think.
Yep.
Kansas City Chiefs.
and I had no idea he didn't look like a football player when he was on the TV. He did not look like a football
Pat
player.
Summerall, I guarantee almost 90% of the kids I grew up with didn't know Pat Summerall played.
In Sports Time Machine, Mike comes by. Yeah, Todd Christensen, BYU. Yep.
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 He was a darn good announcer. I liked
And
him.
oh yeah, Bob
John
Trumpy was another one. Cricky and
Yep.
Trumpy. Yes,
Yep.
Joseph just brought that up. And I remember seeing that name somewhere too on an Apple card, and it was kind of neat. Let's see, Midlife Crisis jumps in and says, watching old NFL films lately. John Brody did color for the Chargers playoff game. Yep. And never see pass like that again. I was going back and watching that channel with all the playoff games and the highlights. It is like you don't remember them, how they happened. Like that long game in '81 with the Chargers and the Dolphins.
Yeah,
So I'm
down
watching
there
that,
in the heat.
and I forget what. Like I knew the Chargers won, and I knew it was a high scoring game, and I thought it was overtime. But I'm like, oh, maybe it wasn't. They all run together, and I'm watching the Chargers took a 24-0 lead.
And they benched David Woodley and brought Strock in, and Don Strock brought him back. The
And
whole hook and ladder. at
Yeah,
the end
that
of
was
the
at the end
half.
of that was the end of the first half. That wasn't even the end of the game.
Yeah,
That was the
yeah.
first half, and that brought him
Threw
back
it
to
to Tony
within.
Nathan. He lateraled it back. Yeah,
I think that made it 24-14 or something. But
yeah. That was a
like I said,
crazy
that's a
game.
famous play. But that
Yeah,
was it was in the first half.
yeah,
That wasn't like the end of the game. I thought that
yeah,
tied the game. Like in
yeah,
my mind, it's like, I was like, what do you mean that was the
yeah.
first half? But you go back and you watch these things. That was 24-0 Chargers. They blew it, and then they somehow hung on at the
Best
end.
relief quarterback in the NFL back then. You start him, he was terrible. You bring him in the second half, and Strock was untouchable. It was amazing.
And midlife says Strock did that 5 times. It felt like 5 times. You
Yeah.
know. Um.
And
Oh,
then the next week they're up in Cincinnati, freezing their ass off.
yeah. Imagine that. Imagine going to Miami where it's like 70
Yeah,
degrees, and then you go up to
yeah, they're
Cincinnati and
dying
it's
of
like
heat stroke down
0.
there in Miami, and then they went up and froze their ass off in
I don't.
Cincinnati.
I don't know how you. I don't know how. I don't know
Yeah,
how you play in that. I don't know how you go to the game in that. I mean,
Mm.
seriously. I mean, I go outside here. Like I come home at night at 9 o'clock at night, at 10 o'clock at night, and I'm unpacking the truck, and it's like 20 degrees, and I'm freezing, and I'm like, I need to get in the house because like I'm having trouble. It's so cold. I'm having trouble with my mechanics, because it's
yeah.
just so cold. Ags, a nice little shout out to Dwayne here. Yeah, there you go, Dwayne.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, we like watching Dwayne. We like watching Mike. We have
Here's,
a
an,
lot of good people here in the community.
here's another player, Alex Karras. He had a
Yes.
I was thinking him. Yeah.
he had a comedy show. I can't think of it. He had a little boy with I
Yeah,
can't
I
think of the
can't
name of the
remember
show.
the show either.
Yeah,
You're correct. Yep,
yeah.
I forgot
Alex
about
Yeah.
Karras.
that, Mike.
He was a
Yeah.
Yeah,
character.
I remember him.
Yeah,
Um, and Fenner
and of
says,
course,
Mike Adamley talk Larry Zonka, all on American Gladiators. Interesting.
yeah. And
That
of
I
course,
didn't know.
in the recent news, Bob Uecker. I mean,
yeah,
baseball and movies, TV
yeah.
show, and
Mr. Belvedere.
Mr. Belvedere,
Yeah.
Major League. I watched a couple clips on YouTube yesterday. He was on the Johnny Carson show.
Oh, I watched that one too. That was funny as
Oh my
hell.
God, funny,
Yeah,
funny
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Just-
He was going to get put in the Hall of Fame. He says, and I'm going to turn it down. Rumor is they're going to put me in. I'm turning it down after all these years. I'm not going to take it.
I was watching his speech I think it was on Facebook. They had his speech, and he's just like, this is not sour grapes or anything because I appreciate going in the Hall of Fame, but he goes, I really thought I should go in as a player.
Carson was reading the back of his baseball card, and he says, "You batted 147." Yeah, I just took the year off that year.
He
I'm
was
like,
so good.
oh
He
yeah,
was so good. Oh yeah, Collingsworth. I forgot he played.
yeah,
I didn't know
Sports
Edberg
time,
played.
Sports Time Machine, Webster for Alex Karras. That was the name of the
yeah.
show.
That's
Webster.
it. Yeah,
Webster. Yeah.
Oh, let's see what else in the chat here.
it was the Cincinnati defensive back Carl played.
Mecklenburg.
No, he was a
No.
black guy. He played a
Weathers.
real
Carl Weathers.
badass.
Carl,
Yes,
Carl
yeah,
Weathers. I didn't
yeah.
know he
He
was
was
a
a real.
football player. He
He
was
was
ripped.
Yeah.
badass.
He was
Yeah.
Yeah,
ripped.
Yeah.
yeah. He was a badass in the movies. He played football. He was good.
Fred the Hammer
Hammer
Williamson.
Williams. Yeah, there's a good one.
Mm.
He was another
Uh,
badass in the movies.
Yeah.
yeah, Chris does some nice work. Yeah, what Chris does is kind of he has team cards where the teams are kind of broken down onto one card. And I thought about getting some of those and checking them
Oh,
out.
really?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
in other words, so you get like the 78 Red Sox. It's just like one card, and I don't know if it's like
What's
a
he
one
put the
card, one
starting
pitch,
nine?
but it's just on one card. So whatever that card is, it's like the average of everybody on the team. And so
Oh.
that card stays on the table the whole game. You just roll
Gotcha.
off of that card
Oh.
for every batter.
Okay.
It's interesting. It's kind of
Yeah.
how it's all broken. I should have got some just to kind of try it out, And then Cricky, here's a throw and a catch. Yeah, they all had their little things that they do. It's kind of neat. And Sports Time Machine, that was the game that hooked me on football. I think we're talking about that Dolphins Charger game. And Adam Lee was also a Jet. Didn't realize that. Didn't realize that. Uh-oh, and Bubba Smith.
Bubba
Yeah.
Smith. Yeah.
Bubba Smith, that's another good one, yep.
Absolutely.
Fenner likes Collinsworth, one of his favorites. Also Kurt Herb Street. Okay. And Strock came in the second quarter and threw for 400 yards.
Yeah.
Wow. That's nuts. 400-pound jerk. I got the Miller Lite commercials. They were always good.
Oh, they
Oh,
were
wasn't they? And the natural light commercials was good too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, one of my favorite beer commercials was the goalies. Remember they had was a goalie commercial, and John Davidson was in there, and a few other goalies. So they're all in there in the bar, and they got their masks on, right? And that's when they had the actual masks back in the day. And John Davidson, I think it was John Davidson, he's talking this and that, and he goes, "Yeah, we're here. We like to hang out in the whole bit." And like, "Who are you?" And the guy pulls down his mask, and goes, "Oh, Tony Esposito." They couldn't recognize him without his mask. I thought
Yeah,
that was
that is
so
good.
good. That was
Yeah.
great. That was great. Ags likes Ray Scott. Don't remember Ray Scott.
Yeah, I
No.
remember him. Yeah, Green Bay game. He did a lot of Green Bay games. Yeah,
Yes, yeah, that's what Jeff said. Did a lot of Packers
he
games.
did a lot of West Coast games. I can remember 49er games. He seemed to do a lot of those
Some of
too.
the Vikings is what it was. Um, Anybody else remember Cricky and Summerall doing ABA games? That's before me.
I don't remember that.
That's before me. I didn't watch a lot of basketball back in the day. Oh, Jeepers, yeah. How could we forget Lynn Swan on the sidelines?
Yeah.
I forgot that. Yeah, I forgot about
Yeah.
Lynn Swan. Yeah.
ABC Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Oh no, where's Al Red Sox fan? His ears
OJ.
are ringing.
Okay.
Loves the OJ. Love me some OJ. You know
How about when they put Dennis Miller up there?
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
that was weird. That was weird. At least they tried something new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is with Dennis Miller is, you're on Monday Night Football, so he's really limited to what he can say and do.
Yeah.
He really is, and it just, yeah, it wasn't horrible, but it's something I think they were better off
Yeah.
taking off the air.
Yeah.
Um, Bernie Casey. Not familiar with Bernie
No.
Casey.
No.
Sports Time Machine loves the ABC Superstars. They were fun back in the
Yeah.
day. The Battle of the Network Stars.
Stars.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's some people that love those. You know who's a big fan of that was Steve Tower. Steve Tower will talk for hours about Battle of the Network Stars. I'm trying to see if I can convince Steve to take the ride with us to Ohio in next August.
Oh my God, that'll be too much.
And,
That'll be
we'll
fun.
probably get it's a 9-hour ride. We'll get 3.5 hours of Battle of the Network Stars. It'll be fantastic.
That'd be great. That would be fun.
AP comes by. Good to see you, AP. Yeah, we're just kind of testing out this new service I'm using. So far, I kind of like it. I really do kind of like it. I like some of the things that it does here, and so far it's working. Although I thought it was going to cut us off at 2 hours because we got a notification. I got a notification of shutting us down, but we're going. So maybe my credit card went through. I don't know. Gary B comes by. Watch John Davidson when he played junior hockey here in Calgary. Interesting. You know how to say? You know how I said it right? Calgary, right? It's not Calgary. It's Calgary. I know how to say it. And Headspun says, Head something says, Bob Costas started broadcasting career doing play-by-play for the Spirits of St. Louis. And Marvin Bad News Barnes. A lot of guys did. Who was the other guy that started with? There was another guy that started with basketball, minor league hockey or basketball. So there's a lot of guys that did that. And they moved up. Oh, AP likes the Stinger shirt. Yeah, I do too. I love the Stinger shirt. I got this for Replay Gamer. He's a big Cincinnati Stingers guy. Maybe it was Costas that I was thinking of that started his thing. And Alan says back in the old days, they would bring some home team announcers in for the National World Series games. Ray Scott did the Twins in the '65 series.
Yeah. In the '70s, they always seemed like they had Palmer and Weaver in there.
Yeah.
So
Bernie
they could
Casey
argue.
was in Revenge of the Nerds. Was that Ogre? Was that Ogre? It must be Ogre. If he's a football player. That's all I can think of is Ogre. Marvelous Mark calls outstanding New York Rangers games. I remember Marv Albert.
Marv Albert. Yeah.
Well, loved him, yeah. I think he did some Jets games too, because I could have sworn when I was watching those old football highlights that that I could hear him doing some of the New York Jets games.
Yeah, he did the Knicks too.
Did he? Yeah, I knew he was a big basketball guy.
Yeah.
I liked his basketball. I did. I'm not a big basketball guy, but I like watching games that he did basketball with. I like that. And I don't know if you guys were here earlier when I was talking about the football I was watching, the old 60s, 70s, and 80s football. How many times the guy's running the end zone and he gets caught and tackled and his knees hit at like the 1 or the 1/2 yard line and then falls into the end zone. It's like touchdown. It's like he didn't get into the end. He was down at the half. If they went back and reviewed all those, they'd probably take away hundreds of touchdowns from those guys in the 70s and the 80s because they just like the forward momentum they gave it to him. It's like he was not in. And then again, making the catches. You get caught, hit, ball comes free. No, you caught it, touchdown. Nowadays you got to take it and wrap it up and put it in the mail, to get it count as a catch, But
Well,
but
up
yeah,
your way, I
back in
guess
the
old
day.
Tommy Heitzen as a basketball announcer is big.
Yep.
Always enjoyed him. I was a Boston fan, so I didn't mind him being a homer when he did the games.
Was that Johnny Most?
No,
No,
Johnny.
Tommy
No.
Heisen, when he
Oh,
would
Heinz.
do the national games, like I say, I enjoyed him. But a lot of people always said he was a homer with the Celtics, but I enjoyed it.
I think he was. Most was really bad.
Most was he was too
He
much.
he was entertaining and you took him for what he was, But when he was like, and he's crying. Been in the league 13 years, never committed a foul. I just love that. It's like, oh my gosh.
I
And
would.
Lambear's crying, and he's crying. It was so good. There's a clip I heard one time, and I can't find it anywhere, where the Celtics went to China and they played a Chinese basketball team. And they gave the names of the Chinese players to Johnny Mouse. He just went, I can't do this. And so there's a clip of the game that I think they played it on the local radio one time many, many years ago. And it's like, now it's Bird or the Parish, and it's up and good. And now here comes the Chinese team. It's the little guy with the ball. The other little guy. I can't say his name. I can't pronounce his name. And shot's no good. Celtics with the ball. It's just like he didn't know anybody's name. He couldn't pronounce any of the Chinese names.
Uh,
Oh, he was just so old school. It was hilarious.
He was a character. I was going to school up in Waltham, Mass, and went to a bar in Newton, Mass. And who shows up at the bar? Johnny Most.
Oh,
And he sits down next to me, right? And I know who he is, and he starts talking, and it was just kind of a casual kind of thing. And he goes, "Are you a Celtic fan?" I said, "No." He looked at me, right? I said, "I'm a 76ers fan."
oh,
He's smoking cigarette after, and he's drinking beers, and right. And he's just like, Sixer fan, Bobby Jones, he is that guy, what a hatchet man he is. And he goes, "Where are you from?" I said, "Connecticut." He goes, "Well, why not? Are you a Celtic fan?" And I said, "Well, I'll tell you why. Again, around 12 years old, Celtics won everything. My father was a diehard Celtic fan, and I couldn't stand them winning every year. And my favorite player to this day was Wilt Chamberlain. I thought it was so
oh,
cool.
yeah,
He shot his foul shots underhand and everything.
yeah.
And I said, I became a Sixer fan because just to go against my father. My mother would leave the house when the Sixers were playing the Celtics because my father and I would sit there and yell and
Oh.
scream at each other. And it would be like, every call went the Celtics' way in Boston Garden. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah,
"Ah,
yeah.
these referees. But I'll never forget one game. I forgot Tony Archibald was going against the Sixers, and they called an offensive foul on Archibald and Daryl Dawkins, and
Oh.
Daryl Dawkins went flying, and Johnny goes, "Unbelievable! He couldn't knock him over if he was in his Volkswagen." He was a
uh,
character. He was a character.
Oh man, it's funny. What's chat room got to say? One thing that amazed me about Dave is how he can learn a new game so quick. He's just the opposite. I have trouble learning new games, so Dave makes it look simple. Some games, I will say, some games I take to more than others. There's been some games that I couldn't do at all. and I've read the instructions and gone over with Ron, and they just didn't click. Some games just don't click for me. A lot of games do. Some games click real fast. You know, like the season ticket games, they click fast. Regular season basketball click real fast. APA, Strat Basic click real fast. You know, a lot of things click real fast. Sometimes it takes a little while, but you know, sometimes they just click. And when they click, that's what I really like when they
I know
click.
some of mine is the simple rules, and I overthink, and it's like it's no way that's what they mean. It's like
Yeah,
it's got to be more to this than that.
I
I'll do this,
overthink.
and that comes up with the play. There's no way.
I overthink when I play a new game because I look at it and it's like, well, how do I know it's this? I don't want to assume this. You know, it's like, is it this? But it could be this. Why couldn't it be that? Well, because this is this. But yeah, but it doesn't say it's going to be this. I can assume from A that B is going to be this, but it doesn't tell me that. You know, I want to be absolutely sure. So I tend to overthink because I want it all spelled out. I don't want to be guessing and just say, well, according to the rules, how do I know that this is what's going to happen? So I tend to pick apart the rules really bad. I know there's been a handful of games that I've gotten back to the developers on, and they've actually gone in and clarified a few things because, well, we've never heard that before, but I can see how you'd come to that conclusion, so we'll clarify that. I was like, oh, okay, that works. Jeff, Harlow, my early APA years were when Don Strock played for me as well as Greasy and David Woodley. Ooh, yeah, some good quarterbacks. I'd play preseason games where I'd bring in backups in the second half, and Strock would rally Miami. That's what I really like about the APA football is that a lot of seasons you get all the quarterbacks, and so you can play anyone you want. The only one they didn't do, and I was bummed out, guys. I was looking at the 2005 season. I still might pull the trigger on that football season because that's when you had Roethlisberger and Manning. You know, Pittsburgh, Indianapolis had some games. You know, the Patriots were still good. They didn't win it that year, but they were still good. But they had Doug Flutie. That's the year he kicked the drop kick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he played a
I,
handful of games. I think it was his last season. It was
yeah.
second, and I was
Should
like,
have started him in the playoffs. They'd have won. They put Johnson in instead.
Yep.
"Oh, did they?"
Yeah, yeah. Flutie gets him to the playoffs, and they benched him in the playoffs.
What year was that?
I was with Buffalo.
Oh, Buffalo. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, yeah. So in 2005, he was with the Patriots, or
Patriots. Yeah,
at some points with the Patriots. I think it was with the Patriots, and they didn't card Flutie. And I was like, oh, if they had Flutie card, I would have bought it today. I really would have because I was looking at that team and I was like, oh man, it's like it just looks like a fun season. I don't usually play the modern season, but to me, 2000 that's 20 years ago. That's still modern.
there's a guy in the NFL didn't give a fair shake. All he did was win.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
he's just a winner.
yeah, so he played 5 games. He only threw 10 passes, but that they didn't card him in APA, and I'm so bummed out about that. Now the year before he played with San Diego a couple years, so I could if they ever come out with 03 or 04, I could get him with San Diego, and I suppose if I got 98, I could get him with Buffalo, but. It would have been cool to have Flutie. So what I would have done for a project is I would have put Flutie in for the whole game to see how he would have done against like a bad team or something like
Yeah.
that. You know, that'd be kind of fun to do. Todd says he's a big fan of Howard Cosell. Yeah, and Brian's song was Bernie Casey. And Bernie Casey, he was the Lambda Lambda Lambda. Okay, okay. Al Michaels did play-by-play for the Cincinnati Reds in 71 and 72.
Yeah.
Okay. And yes, David Volsky, they took down his channel. Yes, they did. I don't know who they is, but yeah, that's too bad. That's too bad. Um, and Greg Gumbel, yep. I remember Brian Gumbel too. Brian Gumbel was
Yeah.
first, I think.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
Carrie says Davidson was drafted 5th from the Calgary Sentinels by St. Louis. Yeah, I think I have him on St. Louis on a couple of my APA seasons in Hockey Bones. First goal is to go straight from a major junior to the NHL. He was a big boy. That's what it was, you know. All right, we're gonna go way back here. Hang on a sec. We need to go way back. So I'm sorry, I might be kind of loud. I can't control that. Mike says, way before y'all's time, Dizzy Dean and Pee Wee Reese in the Saturday CBS Game of the Week.
Wow.
That is before my time.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember that.
Alan says Bill Russell working with Chris Schenkel in NBA games on
Yeah,
ABC.
I do remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
If there's a loose ball, you know the Pistons won't get it. And yeah, I was saying this earlier, Texas Ag. You look at that Butch Johnson catch in the Super Bowl versus Denver, Dallas versus Denver. There's no way that's a catch.
Yeah.
He caught it, hit the ground, come up, never had the ball, and it's like, oh yeah, that's a good catch. No, no,
Got his 6 shooters out.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and Davidson helped the Rangers to the Stanley Cup Finals. Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to like him on the Rangers. In '79, yep, I have that season. That's a fun season to play. '78, '79. That's probably one of the seasons. '70, '71 is probably my favorite season to play. '74, '75 because I get the Scouts and the Capitals and the Steels as the Seals are still around. But '78, '79, that's my other one because that's the year I remember as a kid. It's a too many men. Bruins should have beat Montreal in Game 7. They didn't. And the Rangers had beat, might have been the Islanders. And the Rangers went to the finals against the winner of the Boston Montreal series. And I says, oh, man, if the Bruins could just get by Montreal, they would just wipe the floor of the Rangers. So I play that all the time, that Bruins Rangers what if Stanley Cup all the time. And the Bruins win it all the time, too. But that was a good Rangers team. They snuck into the finals
Yeah.
that year with Phil
Yeah.
Esposito. That was kind of good. Alan says he remembers Dizzy and Pee Wee on those games. Yep. And Kay says he was a good goalie. Davidson, yep. And Joseph says at a flag football game tonight in Sarasota, Florida, the Big Hurt was there. Nice, nice. Frank Thomas was good too. Yep, 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 yep. And yeah, we're not quite a Beatles eternally stream here tonight. Yeah, it is an eternal stream with Beatles sometimes. I'll listen to. I'll go to bed and I'll have Beatles on. I love Beatles. And yeah. How was the Happy Meal? Yes, it's the guy that ran to McDonald's. He's already back. We're still on. So what'd you get? You got to tell us. You can't keep us in suspense. We might run out ourselves. It's catch a late night burger here. Ron does that all the time. He's like, I'm cooking tonight. He goes, I'm going to treat my girl. We're going to get McDonald's. And I was like, you spoil her so much. She is so spoiled. Dominic says, I remember Dave had a hard time with Apple hockey. I had a hard time with everything. Apple back in the day. Hockey, baseball, you name it. Football. Oh, I got off to a bad start with football. And that was my favorite game. I tweaked the
Couldn't have
game
been
to
as
make
bad
it.
as ID.
Well, here's the thing: is I'm impatient like ID. I'm like the guy. I like to throw it on the table and stop playing. And if I get stumped, I get mad. When ID gets stumped, he gets mad. And so I have a lot of that in me too. The difference is that I'll try to research like why I'm stumped and try to figure it out. Whereas ID just kind of stops and gets mad. And he goes off on a rant about it. And sometimes it's funny, and there's
It's
just a
always funny.
frustration in it.
He
It's
scares me at times though, because I'm thinking one of these days he's going to have a coronary right on YouTube.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I
he
know.
he can get himself all wound up. It's like, calm down,
Yeah,
old buddy. It's just a game.
yeah.
Mhm.
I used to get really worked up when I couldn't
Yeah,
figure out a game, and now it's like, well, I try with everything in life. I try to calm myself down. Again, it's just a game, and just if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. Usually, if I can get more than half the game, I'll go with it and
my
figure it
favorite
out.
ID rant was the baseball. He gets the cards out of the box, looking through them. They don't even have the team names on here, and they actually did. And he's looking through, and he had the Washington team out, and whoever's in the chat noticed one of the cards and says WSH. That stands for Washington. That's what that means, ID. And then typical ID, he switched gears and said, "That's what I'm talking about. Look how small it is, and they don't even know how to abbreviate Washington right. Should have been WAS." And
Well,
I'm
I had the same
like,
issue when I did my first Apple unboxing with baseball. I couldn't find the team names of the year,
back in
and
the
it.
day, they didn't put them on.
No, I know, but when I got the new one, I'm like, "Where's the year? What is the team?" I was like, "This is dumb." It's like I like to have everything spelled because I was used to the hockey.
Yep.
The hockey was right at the top. 1979, 80 Boston. And I seriously, they had all the stats. I just couldn't find them. And then I was like, Baltimore was BLT. So that was
Yeah.
the first team. So
Right.
when I see BLT, I'm thinking that's like the pitcher rating. Seriously, I don't know anything
Right.
about APA. Honest to
Yeah.
God, I didn't know
Yeah.
anything about APA. So I'm like, where's the name of the team on here? And they're like, it's. I go, where? I don't see it. I says BLT. That must be the rating of the guy, right? Seriously, I didn't know.
Cool.
And then, but after it took me a little while to go,
Yeah.
CAL, California. Okay, DET, Detroit. Okay, so BLT is not a rating. Again, it wasn't
Yeah.
spelled out, you know. So it took me. I've gone down some of the same roads as ID,
Yeah.
you know. But I tend to give games more of a second chance, and I tend to forgive a little
Yeah,
bit
the
more. Like my
football
app,
was the one. Tebow spent 2 or 3 days with him. He gets the box out and never plays a single play and just goes
yeah.
bat shit
But
on it.
no, but
I
but
loved it.
I've listened to that rant a few times. I'll put that
Yeah.
on every now and then. He's not wrong
No,
in
but
some of the
yeah, it just
stuff,
cracked me up that 3 days he was all into it and he gets it out and he didn't even play a single
but
down.
you know, I kind of felt the same way. But then
Yeah.
I started playing it and I gave it some time and just sometimes you just play it. Don't
Yep.
overthink it. You know, just put the cards on the table and play. And I found that with the football and even with the Apple hockey, I was having so much fun playing it that I made it work.
Right.
You know, the football game, like I was like trying to rate everybody, and I was like, oh, this is stupid. I'm not having fun with this. Then I was like, let me just play it. And I just played a game. I was like, well, this feels like a football game. It's like, yep, I don't use all these guys, and I don't use all these guys. Every now and then I got to check this. Every now and then I got to check that. But you know something? I check enough of them, and they all contribute with their ratings. And I do. And for some reason, the app is the only game I do like having the cards. Some other like second season and season ticket, I like having the team sheets.
Gee, yeah.
Solitaire Pro, I like having the team sheets. I
I
wouldn't want
know a lot
individual
of people
cards.
that ain't hardcore Apple fans with that football are like, there's linemen, you don't need them. I'm like, you tell a hardcore Apple fan that they're not going to card every player. They're going to
Yeah,
go batshit crazy on you.
there
They want
is.
a card for every player,
But
whether it's
yeah,
useless or not. They want to hold that card in their
I
hand.
think you know what it is. I don't know what it is about Apple, but that's the one game that I do like. That I do
Yeah.
like having all the cards. There's something, you know, so cool. I don't have any handy. There's something so cool about taking out that set and having, you know, Merlin Olsen.
Yep.
Okay, and I forget what position he's played, or you know, Alex Karras, who might have been a lineman. There's something so cool about having that card. There really is, and I would rather spend the money and have that card than to have him just on a list on the team sheet.
Olsen was with the old Rams with that great defensive line.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, you look at that Rams deep, and you get Jack Youngblood and Joel Youngblood. You know,
Yeah.
it's just something about having. It's so awesome just to look at those cards and just to have them. But Appa's the only game that I'm okay with that. You know, a lot of the other games I'm okay with the team sheets.
Yeah.
But and the other thing I think I like about having the individual cards is that you lay them on a table, and whether it's baseball, football, or hockey, whatever, those are the guys in the game. You know, you're not going into a team sheet and checking something. It's like if they're on the table, they're in the game.
Yep.
You know, they're in your lineup. They're coming up the bat. They're on the ice. They're on the field. You know, so you're not ever just going. I think that's what I like about it too. Is that you have more control with the individual cards. You lay them down. You got them. You know who's in the game. I just think it kind of works. You know. All right. So what did he get? I did not get a Big Mac. He got some sort of a new triple patty burger. Was it a Krabby Patty? I know. We're all getting hungry. We're all getting hungry here. I know. We had Chinese for lunch today. I said, I need something warm. When it gets cold out here and I'm going from rink to rink, I come home like I need to go and sit in a nice warm restaurant. And we got a Chinese place that's really close by. And Flutie got the Calgary Stampeders, the Grey Cup in '92. I
Yeah,
know.
you did.
I have Flutie. And I have that Cold Snap game.
Yeah, that's the one of the years he has is 92.
Yep.
Yep.
That was given to me in Ohio, and I even got a Flutie season with it too. So I
It's
think I have a
probably not
Flutie season.
92 season.
I don't know if it's 92 or 95, but I have that. Oh, and it was I think it was Grant's game too that someone sent me a Flutie season for that. So I need to
Yeah.
pull out that and play it too. You know. And Texas says his favorite goalie is Tony Esposito. That's mine too. I love Tony Esposito. Big fan of Tony Esposito. World's Worst Gamer wants the CFL to start up so he can eat that hat trick triple cheeseburger while watching some CFL. That's nice, nice. Any new D2D con updates? Well, we've added a couple more people. More people have purchased tickets, so I think we're pretty much a go at this point here.
Yeah.
I guess unless something really happens at the last minute, but we should be a go. I'm hoping to get out there before May. I got to look at my hockey schedule, but I'm hoping to get out there either during the week or on a weekend and spend a night and get on and have some dinner with Mike and check out the room and maybe try a
Yep.
couple of test broadcasts and see what kind of visualize the room, what we want to do. See if I can broadcast from the room, maybe test out the TV, see if we can, I think it'd be kind of cool to not only put the broadcast on the TV, but maybe put some PC games on there.
Yeah.
So if someone has a PC game they want to bring, I know, Clay's coming. So if he wants to bring a mogul game and put it up on the TV, we can do that. Dave Cook's coming. I know he's just kind of watching, but maybe we can put his PC game up there and he can talk a little bit about it, if he wants. So as far as updates with D2D Con, yeah, we're full steam ahead. We're going to
It's a
be,
go.
it should be a good time. We should have close to 30, maybe even 40 people by the time we're done on that. And I don't think that'll be too bad for the first year.
No, that's
No,
good.
not bad.
And no, I've not seen Jeff Guterman's interview on JC Sports yet. No, I've not. I've not seen that one yet. Um, yeah, EA Sports, it's in the game. Yes, it is. I love having the cards. I do. Do you guys find that by chance that you have different games? Like I say, whether it's the cards or team sheets or some games with dice, some games with just fast action. Do you find that you're okay with certain things in some games and but not in others? Meaning that I wouldn't want team sheets for APA, but I'm okay with team sheets here. Do you guys find that in different games that you're okay with things in certain games?
My biggest one is I couldn't stand fax action cards, but it works with Status Pro Baseball. Works well. The
Yeah,
dice actually gives you too many hits. The cards actually, I think, does a better job of replicating the season. Yeah, and
yeah,
again, I wouldn't want that in every game, but it works in that.
yeah. How about you, Mike?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the individual cards or fast action cards. I have a couple games that have team sheets. In fact, I'm looking at one now. It's called Ruster Sheet,
Oh, roster sheet. That's Ron.
Rusticod Baseball.
Ron likes that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just you got to kind of look down the sheet for if you got your batting lineup, you got to kind of search for them in the sheet. I don't particularly like that. I kind of just like to have the players right in front of me, and you
But
know.
the question was, is there a game that does something that you normally don't like, but for that game it works? Like Dwayne was saying, the fast action cards work great for Status Pro.
Mm,
You got anything that like, geez, I don't like this in my game, but for this game, I don't mind it.
no, not really.
Yeah.
Nothing I can think of at this moment. No,
Okay.
no.
Let's see here. Carrie B says picked up APA baseball with the greatest teams of the past 1 and 2. And what it said was a season, but turned out to be a football season. So now I need to find someone in Canada selling the game. Oh boy.
Ugh.
Um, ID is right though about the instructions. A bunch of text, and we learn a lot from you guys on YouTube. Yeah, I will say that some of the games, um, yeah, the instructions are kind of confusing, and it is nice to have people sort it out. Here's what I find too. Is I don't know about you guys, but if I get a game and I, and something new to me, it doesn't have to be like a new game, like a season ticket or anything like that. But if it's just a game that I'd never played, and no matter how long it's been out, and I struggle with something, and at some point, like I said, I'll either go to YouTube or I'll ask around to get some clarification. Either that, or I'll just kind of wing it. There's still some things I'm not 100% clear about like the baseball master game, and I wing it. Like it doesn't really say that I could see that on every throw that you check to see if the guy drops the ball. Tebow said to do it, and on steals you're supposed to check it, but I never where it said in the game that every time you throw to a base, not on a standard play, but when you're trying to take the extra base, that you check on a drop. I do it, but I couldn't tell you in the instructions where it says to do that. It's implied, but it doesn't say it. So, but I don't really sweat that out. It's like if I want to do it, I do it. If I don't, then I don't. But so there's a lot of things in the instructions that you have a hard time with, unless it's something major. Then that's a big deal.
I
But some
forget who I seen on YouTube was talking that he went to a convention game he played all his whole life and was playing it against somebody and found out one rule, not a major rule. He was playing it wrong for like 30 or 40 years. He never played against anybody, and that's just the way he played it. I thought it was pretty cool that all them years he thought he was playing it correctly. And I'm like, no, you misunderstood the rule.
well,
Pretty
I
cool.
did that with APA football. I was adding 17 and then checking the kicks, and that's why I missed a lot of kicks. And you're not supposed to. You're just supposed to go right to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And if you make the kick, then whether you make the kick or not, you add that 17 yards to the stats. But no, it's the line of scrimmage, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, so I've been playing that wrong, and now it's more fun because the kicks
Yeah.
are easier to make,
Yeah.
because you're not,
Yeah.
so I did that wrong too, It's like, okay, I screwed it up, but
Yeah,
when
about
I
the only
went
way
back
you
and
could have figured is you could have never had a 17 or 18 yard
yeah,
kick. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but when you go
Yeah.
back and look at the chart, it says the longest field goal you can kick is, so I think it was like 62 or 65 yards. And if you go, like, if you add 17 to the last column,
Yeah.
that puts it right there. So that makes sense. But
Mm.
again, it was kind of a little hazy whether it's like, when I read it, I wasn't quite sure.
Yeah.
It says, this is the line of script. When I went back and read it again, it's like, yeah, I can kind of see how I could say it, but I could also interpret the other way too.
Right.
So we almost went to the 99. We went there a few weeks ago. We actually had to move our seats. We went into the main dining room, and there was a family there with 3 kids, and they were making so much noise and looking over the booths and all that stuff there. The people next to us says, we're going, and they're like, put us in the bar. So and then the people next to us on the other side, they're like, yeah, we got to go. And so I looked we hadn't even ordered yet. I think we ordered we just ordered our food. And I said, yeah, we're out of here too. So we stood up and we went to the wait, and real loud I says, we can't be next to this noise. It's just so loud. These people are not controlling and I'm like talking real loud, you know. And I'm like, so is there any way we can go over here, because we're not staying here. We're gonna follow all the other people, And I didn't look at them, but I was loud enough so they could hear me. And so we went on the other side, and the waitress come over and says, "Oh, they apologize." I said, "Well, that's good. They haven't controlled their kids." Three people get up and left. So all you people in the dining room lost customers that went to the bar because of these people. So you might want to send the manager out and say, "Tell you what, why don't we pack up your stuff so you guys can go, because people are getting annoyed with you." There's ways to handle that. It sucks, but there's ways to handle that. Oh boy, and Pesky Paul coming by. And he's Keith Jackson. That's another good
Rumbling,
one.
Yeah.
stumbling.
Yep, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, he was. I used to like him with the college games. He was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
USC.
Yeah.
Alrighty. And Texas ad says it depends on the sport. Baseball and hockey, I want all the cards, but football sheets are good. Yeah, I think with most games, I'm okay with that. There's something about the APA though. I think it's just, I don't know what it is about the APA. You just want the cards. I think in a lot of games I do. Uh-oh, trouble just showed up here. Marco. I'll be right back. Say hi to Marco.
Hey, Marco.
What's your go-to game, Mike?
History Maker Baseball
Yeah.
is my game. Yeah, I'm starting to get in. I've bought Payoff Pitch. I haven't opened it yet. I've bought a lot of games in the
Uh-huh.
last year, and I haven't played. I just played my first APA Basic game a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
This weekend, I'm going to try and get Strat on the table. I have 2018 season for
Yeah,
the
that's a
Red.
game I've never played. My buddy's got a copy of it and was going to get it out, he said. And he decided he's got the old boards for Appa Master, so he
Hmm.
reordered the new boards and he's going to go with the 82 season in it
Okay, yeah,
instead
it's
of Strat.
funny. Yeah, it's funny because I started really getting back into the gaming thing a couple of years ago, and I got History Maker Golf. That was my first getting
It's a
back
great
in.
game.
Oh, I love it.
Yep.
And I saw the baseball, and I was like, I don't know if that's gonna work. I just don't know
I
with
haven't bought it either, but it's
with
amazing how his games work.
the
They're great.
Yeah.
quality, I couldn't understand the
Yeah.
qualities. I said, "That's not gonna
Yep.
work." And I got the '67 season, obviously, because it was my favorite Red Sox season that I was first year of watching, sports. And I played out the whole year, sim the other games on digital to diamond, but the Red Sox games I played, and they were 90 and 72 that year. I played them, and I got them 96 and what was it 66. So I was a little bit better, only because the Red Sox won. I had a 12 game winning streak at the end of the season to get me to the 96 wins. But statistically, it was crazy. I kept all the stats, and
Did you
Yastrzemski's
enter 'em in
number.
Digital Diamond?
Yeah, and Yastrzemski's numbers were right on 44 home runs, a little higher on RBIs and but batting, but he won the triple crown. Everybody performed pretty close to what you'd expect,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Wow!" The only underperformer in that replay was Jim Lonborg.
Yeah.
He didn't have as good a record. The guy that had a really actually performed better was Gary Bell for the Red Sox that year.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, like I say, it's amazing how his game. The first
yeah.
play game I got was red, white, and blue racing, and I'm thinking, and I say it, and I'm trying not to downgrade. The game's so simple, you're thinking, and it's no way this works. It's no way that this simple mechanic is going to
Mm,
get you the results it does. And his games just work. It's amazing.
Do you know what I got the red, white, and blue racing because I ended up getting most of his games at one point, and you got to get used to that style. Like the hockey blast, I fought with that, and I couldn't get it. But then again, I was still kind of new at the whole tabletop gaming thing. And so it seemed like the more games I played when I went back to play the games I had trouble with, the easier they were the second time around. I don't know, that was
See, I
just
don't
me.
have the hockey game, but I got the lacrosse game, and it's the exact same mechanisms.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so the hockey game, like I say, is you got the qualities. So it just who's going to win the battle. This team's got the puck. You roll the dice. You check this guy versus this guy, or this team versus this team, or whatever it is, and then you see if somebody's going to get a shot, and so it works out pretty well. The racing game, I watched a lot of people play the red, white, and blue racing, and I got it myself, and I was just like, there's no way that once you set up your lineup there and you figure out who's won all the way down to whatever 40, it's like there's no way that any of these guys in the back can never move up to the top. So who's not going to win. And I did a race, and no kidding, this guy that was near the back, I don't think he was last. Maybe he was last, but he was real close to last on the board. Not the extra stack, but I mean last on the board. He ended up at one point in the race, he was in first place.
yep. It's like
mhm.
say it,
And
and
it's
exciting finishes in that game. Oh my god, I can't tell you
he
how
didn't
many.
last there long. He overtook somebody, and then the leader overtook him when the leader got the roll for his thing there. But I was like, son of a gun, this guy was in the
Yeah,
back. Couple of accidents, couple of checks. He moves up one, a little bit later, moves up another one, a little bit later. Next thing you know, he's in the second group, and next thing you know, he's first place for just a smidge. But I was like, well, that answers that question.
one
If
thing that
anybody
held
can,
me back on play games was especially the racing because I only seen Steve Tire playing it, and he uses the scram, the fictional. I didn't think they made actual drivers, NASCAR drivers, and all. And my buddy, he's the one that got it first. And it's like, yeah, I got the '84 season, Dwayne. It's NASCAR
nice.
drivers. I'm like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, I thought everything that play did was fictional. Yeah,
What I like about some of the play games, like the golf and the racing, is that sometimes you have that pre-setup where you take all the cards and you kind of blindly pick,
yeah.
and
Get you your
like
tournament and stuff. Yeah,
yeah, the golf is kind of fun because you're like,
yeah.
okay, so here's all the guys who are advancing, and you flip over and you're like, oh my gosh, this guy didn't make the cut.
Ma- Right.
That's kind
Mm.
of fun. I
Yeah,
did
your
like
Jack
that.
Nicholson or Arnold Palmer don't make it. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's like, oh boy, so that's where the fun comes with that. Jeff says, I think team chats work for second season, but you got to have player cards in that for football. I'm this. That's what I was saying. There's some games you just maybe it's because that's what we're used to, but you want the cards. And other games, like I'm okay without the cards. And I think it all depends on the game.
Mike,
If
with
I
the
heard from the
replay, with
replay,
not having every player, did it affect you much?
Excuse me, I missed that again.
Doing that 67 replay
Yeah.
with not having every player, did it affect you much?
Um, Not really. You pretty much had most of the players. Again, they were smaller rosters back then. Um, it was funny. I When I was playing the replay, I actually the only time, quote unquote, because my wife always asked me, "Do you ever cheat at these games?" And I laughed at her. I said, "No." The only time I would say I cheated was I actually, when it came to the day that Tony Canigliaro got hit at home plate, I made his at bat get hit by the pitch, pulled his card, and he didn't play the rest of the season.
Oh, you did that. Yeah,
I did
cool.
that. That's the
Yeah.
only time that I can say that if
Cool.
you want to
I
say
like it.
cheat,
Right. I like it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Ron doesn't cheat either, but the Montreal Canadiens have never lost a game on his channel. Just saying. Getting back to Larry here. Yes, yes. I was talking to Replay Gamer offline. I was trying to get him on for New Year's, but he said something about a new computer, a new camera, so he couldn't join us on New Year's. But I have been in touch with him, and every now and then I send him a message asking what he's playing and if he's still playing this. And he's still playing, so he's around. He's just not on. Um, and Midlife says, I've always interpreted that as you have to attempt to steal. Someone online told me you don't have to do that, but it's not what the rules state in the book. So yeah, sometimes it's like Tebow said, you got to have your D and your C people try to steal and get caught because that's how it happened. If you want to add to all that, um, here's another thing. So yeah, this is another thing I want to ask you guys. So he says I always hold the runner no matter the situation. What are you guys doing there? Because I'm playing the APA now, and um, sometimes even in Strat too. Sometimes the Strat, I wonder if I should hold like every single runner. Like, when do you guys not hold a runner?
I hold them about 95% of the time, Dave. I
mm,
rarely don't.
Okay,
yeah, I'm probably about the same.
because when it comes to APA, I think there's the rated on the master game like A through what G, and then like R for rare and N for never. I think I hold everybody but the R's and the N's.
My
You
thing
know.
is, I don't know when they say they not holding. I'm thinking the guys playing the whole way back at first, like there would be nobody on, and now, if the game could explain it where he holds him on for a few seconds and starts inching his way
Yeah.
off the
Mm,
then I'd probably be more apt to say I'm quote not holding him on. But I'm thinking not holding him on. He literally waves at the pitcher and says, "Hey, I ain't
Yeah.
going over there." That's how I
Yeah.
look at it. Not that I'll pretend I'm over there close enough. If you want to throw over, it's going to be hard to throw him out, but at least he's not getting a huge lead on us. But
yeah,
that's how I look at not holding him on. That you're playing your regular first base position with nobody on type attitude.
Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
So
I
I
think
don't like doing it.
it's very like I say. I'm trying to come up with a rule for myself that I'm consistent with and I'm
Yeah,
fair. With and so I was like, as much as I don't want to hold this guy with two outs and he's not going to steal, it's like you kind of have to just to kind of like I said, keep it real. And
yeah.
again,
That's how I look at it.
this is a real slow guy or a pitcher with no speed or something like that. It's like, and I too I envision him kind of like near the base, like behind him, and
Yep.
then like backing off during the pitch. So
hmm,
he's not. It's not like he's sitting way back and the guy can take
Yeah.
a 30-foot lead. It's not
Right.
like that, But at the same time, he's somewhat close. So yeah, so I'm kind of the same way with that. And yes, we hope Marco's doing well. You know, and Texas Ag is not familiar with Mike. Does Mike have a channel? Yes, he does. Mike, what is
it's
your channel?
it's called Another Replay Guy. Hooray! That's the name of the channel. Another Replay Guy. Hooray! If you take the first letters of each word you get arg, which is kind of what I say when I start my videos. And I came up with that as kind of like, yeah, another replay guy, hooray! Just what we need is another replay guy, arg. And that's how I came up with the title of the channel and that
uh,
little sound effect. I don't know if Dave's got a pirate sound effect or not.
Is
And
is that it
all
right there?
yeah, yeah.
Is
A lot of history maker baseball games
so
on
that's your channel right
YouTube.
there, though, right?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Yep.
Alrighty. Oh, I should probably subscribe.
Oh boy. Uh, and
Yeah.
I started that about a year ago, so I just took me a year to get my enough guts to do it, and they're all pre-recorded. I haven't got the guts yet to do live streaming yet, so
And
that's
there's
my next adventure.
Dwayne's channel there if you want to
well,
check
thank
out
you.
Dwayne.
Yep,
Yeah. So we got a
I
couple of guys on here doing a good job on their streaming.
I'm a subscriber to Dwayne's channel.
Yeah,
Yep.
same with you. Good.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like I said, you guys go do different games sometimes. Like I say, I like to watch the Mike do his History Maker baseball because I'm still kind of trying to learn that in the
Yeah,
background a little bit.
we're gonna get you to
Yeah,
understand that.
I figure well in the D to D con, I'm gonna play a game with you, and you
Yeah.
kind of show me what the magic is with that game.
Yeah. Funny story though. Keith, 2023 had the tournament up at Cooperstown, New York, and we had the History Maker baseball tournament, which was just being at the Hall of Fame, my first time being there, and it was fun. And we had the Cooperstown set, and you drew teams based on the pile, and there was one name on each top of the pile of cards. And being a Red Sox fan, there was one pile of the 20 teams that we were using or whatever. Ted Williams at the top, and on another pile there was Pedro Martinez, and I was like, "Which team do I
Oh, you
take?"
tell me that,
You
yeah.
don't know who's underneath the pile, so you don't know who you're getting. Well, I took Ted Williams. I said, "Yeah, let me take Ted Williams." Well, I had a unbelievable. I had Ralph Kiner. I mean, I had some unbelievable players. My second baseman of all people, being a Red Sox fan, was Willie Randolph. Now, prior to this tournament starting, you could make trades. Nobody wanted Willie Randolph. I couldn't trade him for a bag of popcorn. So that's my only second baseman I have for this tournament. My first 3 games of the tournament, who gets the winning hit for me? Willie Randolph. Unbelievable. I made it to the finals. I was 6-0 for the day. Made it to the finals and was going against Travis Jansen, who um, helps Keith design and rate the cards, baseball cards. Travis is a fantastic guy, unbelievable guy. I met him 2 years ago in Denver. Consider him a real good friend. And I played him in the finals for the championship. And when you play History Maker baseball at home, I don't use the strategy cards. I've looked at them, but I don't use them because you kind of use that for head to head. And all during the tournament, everybody that I played, we didn't use the strategy cards. And of course, Travis, he uses them, and he beat me in the finals 5-4 in 10 innings. And it was because he knew how to use those strategy cards, and I didn't.
Mm,
But I looked at it and I said, you know what? I lost to a guy who's been playing this game for 12 years. I made it to the finals. I'm happy with that.
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
But it was fun. It really was fun. And to this day, I still don't use the strategy cards.
Yeah, the little cards can be a kind of a pain there, Ags. I agree with you on that.
But I
Yeah.
like it because of the footprint, though, with
Oh yeah, it's a small
especially with
footprint. Yeah.
YouTube,
Yeah.
with trying to broadcast it, it makes it nice.
Yeah, Mark says Appa could get away with rating card for the OL and defensive plays. Yeah, I see how you could do that, Mark. But yeah,
Yeah, like I
what
say, a true Apple fan would go batshit if they ever did that.
here's what Ron and I talk about this all the time. Here's what I would do if I was like in charge of Appa. I would do both. I
Yeah.
would have a season with
Hmm.
all the cards for the people who want them, and then I would have a season with most of the cards, the skilled players, and a few guys like that, and then like I say, team defensive sheets, team offensive line sheets, and so you wouldn't if that would make it cheaper for the season, and that's an alternative, an option for people. I think that would be the way to go. And I know it'd probably be a little more expensive to kind of set up two different things, but you have two different packages, like Lapa does with the baseball and the extra cards. You're going to get your base 900; those are the most guys. But if you want the extra cards, you can buy those as well. So if you want to get here's the Apple football game, and let's just say it's $80 instead of 122. It's $80, and you get here's your base set of cards, and then the defense and stuff is all on the sheets, and all the non-skill players are on sheets. But if you want all the cards, there's an option there too. I think that should be the way to go. You can do both. And Ron and I talked about that all the time.
Yeah,
And
there's
Midlife says the only time I don't hold a runner on since I'm managing both teams is in a situation where I wouldn't steal anyway. Interesting.
yeah, there's quite a few things I wish he'd do as far as a business model.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with that.
I mean, the
Um,
gaming their sales are awesome, and that's the one game that I get on here and tell people when I ordered it and when I receive it, because there's so many people in here to blast it. But I've always had good customer service as far as that goes, and even when I've emailed him, he's always gotten back with me. And you hear
yeah,
the horror stories that they don't, but I've
yeah,
never
it'd
had
be
a problem with
nice. Yeah, it would be nice if he would respond to emails, but I mean, depending on how he gets, I mean, because I have
it.
my own business too, and I don't get back to everybody in a timely fashion either. Because sometimes you're just like, oh my gosh, I got so
Yeah,
much to do on top of all the emails. It's like I'm trying to get things done. So if he's trying to send orders out the door, I think I'd rather have orders go out the door than him having to
yeah, like I
respond
say,
to
he's
every single
always
email.
gotten back with me. Now, there's been times where he's emailed me at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, and at 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm getting the game. So the email didn't help me, but I mean, at least he did it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, there's only one problem he didn't solve, and I had a problem with one card. It's like there's not much you
yeah,
can do with one card,
yeah,
it is what it is. It came in dirty. It was a dirty, it had dirt on it and couldn't get it off. But yeah, what are you gonna do with that?
yep.
Brian comes by. Hi, Brian. Yeah, we're just kind of just chit chatting here. We'll probably wrap things up shortly. I need to get to bed because I want to play some football tomorrow. I want to play some baseball tomorrow. I got the day off, so I think I'll do some breakfast with the wife, and then we're gonna set up the
You got a
table
3 day
here.
weekend?
Um, I gotta work. No, Monday's a normal day for me. Monday's
Yeah,
kind of like I work a little bit in the morning and then I get a job at night. I do so Monday's like my setup for the week. So
yeah.
Sunday's my only day off. So I have a Sunday off, and then Monday I get up, kind of a slow start with coffee in the gym, and then it's like okay, now I get ready for my long weeks. I get ready for my Monday through Saturday type of thing there. But we canceled the games tomorrow, so I will be around tomorrow morning as long as I don't sleep until noon.
What's the
And
weather supposed to be up there Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday? It's supposed to be brutal down here. I imagine up
we're
there.
supposed to get bitching
Mm,
cold. We're supposed to get snow tomorrow, a Sunday, a lot of
Sunday, yeah.
snow, and
Oh
then
yeah,
we're gonna
we're
get
about an
bitching
inch or
cold.
two,
So we
but then
need
it's
to.
supposed to be lows in the single digits, maybe below zero down here. I'm in Maryland, right below the Pennsylvania line, Mason Dixon line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're getting. Yeah, me and Mike are getting
Four to
snow and
six
then cold.
inches. Yeah,
Yeah.
that cold. Yeah.
So we're gonna have
Yeah,
to. The thing is, you got to remove it fast because once it freezes, it's in place. It could be there for a while. So,
Yeah.
so
yeah, and we're
yeah,
supposed to, I think, quote unquote, warm up Wednesday until about the 30s.
yeah, we're not getting 30s for a while that
Yeah,
I can tell. But anyway, so all right, well, we'll wrap things up here. We had a pretty good crew on here tonight. We had a
She did.
pretty
Yeah.
steady group of people on here, and I get the chance to test out this new service, which I think I'm kind of liking. I got a little scared there at the 2 hour mark that it was going to cut me off automatically, so I got to figure out what's going on with that. But it looks like we're still on. People are still chatting with
how
us.
many
So
cameras and all can you have on here,
you
Dave?
know something? I believe with this service, if you pay for the pro service,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
what I'm saying. Yep,
yep.
that's what I pay for in StreamYard.
Yep, and I would have loved to keep StreamYard, but they wanted to charge me like over $60
Mine
a
comes
month.
due in March.
Yep.
I
So
pay
yeah,
for a year.
mine came due. Actually, when I canceled, they offered to renew me at 40% off the new rate, which still was up over like around 45 or $50 a month. And at the time, I said no. I found that other Talk Studio service, which I didn't like, but it was really cheap. And this one here I found, and I got a 7-day trial. It's for if you do it a year, it's $39 a month. And I
I think that's what
found
SteamYard used to be, right?
StreamYard was I was paying 44 a month for
I see.
StreamYard.
I thought mine was just below. Well, technically, I thought it was 40,
I think
39.
I had this. I didn't have like the super duper broadcast plan,
Yeah.
but I had the top of the line. There's three plans. I had the top of the line
Mhm.
one before the super plan, and I was over $40 a month
Yeah.
for that because I was on some. I was there from the beginning, so I had the discount that would be a lifetime discount of an extra 5 or 10%, what it
Yeah.
was. But this one here, it was if you do the year, it's $39 a month. I get a 7-day free trial that I'm trying out now before I got to commit to the year. And somehow I found a 15% off coupon and
Cool.
I put it in and it took. And
Oh,
so if I do it, I think I'm going to get it for $33 a month. And I was like,
Yeah.
I will absolutely 33. I will do that. Anything less
Yeah.
than 40 is great.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
as long as it doesn't cut me off at the 2 hours, which it looked like it haven't. But as far as cameras go, it just says add camera. And I used to watch some videos on YouTube and people have had 3 and 4 cameras going.
Good. That's I like at least be able to have three.
Yeah,
Yep.
I got 2 right now. I just have my overhead and I have the
Yep.
one here. I thought at some
Yeah.
point
I
it
normally
might be
only
fun.
have two too, but I would like the ability if I wanted to expand to three to have three. But yeah, how many
Yeah.
guests can you have at one time?
Oh boy. I'm not sure. I think you can have 12, maybe.
Oh, really? Because SteamYard's still 10.
Is it? Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I say, I usually don't have more than 4 or 5 at the
Right.
most, because then it gets really too confusing. 3 to 4 is beautiful.
Yeah, you got to start muting people then.
Yeah, and then it just gets noisy and
Yeah.
the whole bit. But it does a lot. Let me show you real quick before I go. Let me show you some of the other things that it
Sure.
does here.
Appreciate it.
So all right. So again, I'm just going to do this real quick just to kind of show you guys some of the things here. So I'm building a scene right now. Okay. So this is what we're in right now is called the dynamic scene, which is kind of just whatever. But I got these pro scenes. So I'm going to transition. And so now I'm in this scene. Okay. I can build a new scene. Okay. And let me see here. We're going to, I'm going to build a new scene. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add us. Hang on a sec here. So I got my new scene. I'm going to add people to the scene here. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see if I can get rid of this now. Okay, so we're going to do this. And I'm going to show you some of the things that it kind of does. It's kind of neat. So we're going to build a new scene. And we're going to bring in the transition. So we're going to do this. We're going to bring in this. We're going to bring in this. Okay. All right. So real quick, I've just built this scene here. And here we go.
Oh,
wow.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you build these scenes. So I'm in this thing called studio mode. So I'm looking at 2 different screens. The one on my right is live. The one on the left is what I'm working on. And so I just can go back between the scenes.
Cool.
And you can
And you
also
can label
change
them.
the transition too. So if I want to go to this scene here, I just change the transition, right? And it's like whoop, there we go. So you can
Yeah.
change it to transitions on it.
Now, can you label these? Like if I got it in SteamYard, I'll have it a setup for baseball. I have a setup for racing. So all I do is click on it and bang, everything's cameras where I want it. If I'm using sharing the screen on the computer for like digital diamond, it shows up where I want
I believe
with just
so.
one click of the button. I don't have to every time move stuff around. You know how you can change the layout and how you can move the box from left to right and all that. I just got it set up to, so
I
it
think so
doesn't
because
cover up stuff.
I have it's called a pro it's called pro scenes. So
Uh huh.
you click on add a scene. They got some pre-programmed ones. I click on a blank one, and then I just add whatever
Yeah.
I want. I add my logos, I
Yeah,
add
you
my
should be able to
background.
label that then.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I have one, and you can set up different studios too. So you can have I have a studio for guests. I have a studio for me. So what my scenes right now, I have one that's called Just Me. So if I go back to my studio, so this one was just me, and I would be nice and big on the studio, and
Right.
I would be the
Mhm.
only guy here. This is just called new scene. I just kind of threw this together tonight. Um, but I have one also. It's called overhead. So I have my overhead camera coming down, and let me put the dynamic scene back. Um, and again, you just click the button to transition to the new scene is what it is. So
Cool.
I have another scene that's just the overhead camera, and then me in
Yeah.
the top corner with my logo. And
Yeah,
yeah,
that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, so
it
it
saves it. Yeah,
yeah,
it's all saved over here. So when I go back, as long as I go back into that same studio,
right.
um, all my scenes are all saved as long as the cameras are
Yeah.
on in the whole bit. But yeah, I think you can probably. I
Might
don't know
have
how
to
many
look
scenes
at
you
it
can set up, but
March.
check it out. Yeah, it's called
Yeah.
EVMux, EVMUX.com.
Okay.
And yeah, when you run out of StreamYard, check it out. It does some neat things. It's even got the music on here.
Now, how bad was it to cancel StreamYard? Was it hard to cancel?
No, I just went to my plan and said don't renew.
Oh, you
Eh,
never actually paid that? Because that's what I'm afraid is going to happen with me. I'm going to
oh yeah,
forget.
they will. Yeah, you're automatically going to renew.
Yeah,
But
right.
you get a notice. It'll say, "Hey, you're coming up for renewal."
Okay.
Because I got an email and it says, "Hey, next Thursday or on the 10th or whenever it is,
Okay.
your new price is this." And I went
Gotcha.
in and said, "Cancel."
Good.
And it says, okay, you're good till November or whatever for the,
Awesome.
and then after
Glad
that
to hear that.
you'll bounce to the free plan. But if
Yeah.
you don't do it, you will, and you'll pay the whole amount, which was
Right.
like 800 something dollars a month a
Yeah, I
year.
heard
I was
that's
like,
what it went up to.
it was stupid. I
Yeah.
mean, if they had gone up $5 or $10, I would have stayed with them. But I mean, to
Right.
go up that much. But
Right.
this service here, if I can get this for 33 a month for the year, I'm kind of liking it.
Yep.
So, and Mike says the forecasting snow from middle Georgia down to the coast. Yeah, didn't
Darn.
Appa just have that storm down there they were talking about? You
Yeah.
know, you know. Um, well, if it's paying $30, $40 a month to stream, better be raking in major dough. Well, to me, it's I use this to because there's also there's a recording function.
Mm.
So I use this as the backup for the podcast. So
Yeah.
I use it for chats. I use it for streaming. Sometimes I use it for my work meetings, and sometimes I use it when we record. I have that as the backup. So if my recording fails here, we have the backup in the cloud from here. So I use it for many different things. So it's not just for me. It's not just streaming games.
What made you get into recording, Mike?
Um, I
Chicks,
just
chicks.
yeah. No, it's funny. I watched Steve the first couple guys that I watched was Steve Towers, Dave, Kurt Berglund, and you. And I started. I said that'd be kind of fun to do, and I said, we'll see
I got
how.
in for it for just complete selfishness. I wanted to be able to go back, and if I had a great game, a great race, to be able to relive it instead of just talking about it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah,
me and my buddy used to play status pro football back in the 80s, and we still sat around and talk about. I'm like, imagine if we had that taped and we could have seen that. It would be
yeah,
so freaking awesome. So that's why I started doing it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
It
just thought it would be fun to do, and it has been fun. Like I said, I
yeah, it is.
haven't gone live yet, but I've enjoyed what I did. I didn't
Now, do
realize.
you edit?
No, I don't
Oh, then you
edit.
might as well go live, Mike, if you're not editing. Yeah, yeah.
Because it
Then
took
you
me a
get the
year.
interaction with the chat. No, it's nice.
Yeah, you know what it is with me is I tend to overanalyze everything I do. I'm a finance budget analyst, so
Okay.
I'm a numbers
I'm a
guy, and
guy. Yeah.
I analyze. So whenever I get into anything, um, I'm also an Amazon seller. It took me a year of truly analyzing before I sold my first thing on Amazon.
hmm.
Yeah.
My wife kept saying, "Well, when are you gonna start your business?" I said, I'm analyzing, and it's just like when I buy a car or we buy something, she would just go out and buy something. I've got to analyze and that's what it was. It was, Amazon was the same way, and then it was the same thing with this. I said, I did this, and that. Wait a minute. It's all right. I'm going to do it, and I said, let me just do it. And I don't. Yeah, if I went back and uh, edited, I never would have gotten anything out there. So.
Right.
And it was
Yeah.
funny because Steve Towers, I met Steve Towers 2 years ago in Denver at PlayCon, and I said to him I was interested in starting, and he said, "Just start live." He goes, "Do it live." And I said, "Oh, I don't know if I can do that." He goes, "Yeah, but if you do it the other way, you're going to get caught in editing and all that." And I did it, and I said, "You know what? I'm just going to put it out there. If it's, now
And
I've got to go back and look at the first one I've done and the one that I've done recently and see if I've gotten any better or not, and
there's
and
good and
see.
bad to both.
Yeah,
Sometimes I like to go live because you do it and you're done, and you don't gotta edit and upload or save or anything like that, and you don't have to worry about losing. It's already in the cloud. But the problem is with going live is that like Steve Tower said, you lose IQ points. When you
Right.
start interacting with the chat, you forget where you were. Did I roll the dice? Is this guy come to the plate? I mean, sometimes you forget where you are,
Yeah.
and sometimes you're like, did I just roll that? What was that number again?
hmm
And you make a lot of mistakes because someone's talking to you. You're being distracted, and
yeah,
it's a distraction. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but I'm saying it's a distract. It's like if you had someone here talking to you, like if your kid's doing homework or something, like, Dad, what's this right here? And you turn away and you help them, and you go back. Oh boy, what where am I
Yeah.
here? And so live is great because you're done in one swoop. But
hmm
That's the main reason I went live, Dave, is a
yeah,
half an hour video would take 2 or 3 hours to download onto
yeah,
YouTube.
that's the
Oh
other thing.
yeah,
But
that's I didn't realize how long
Yeah.
it
oh yeah,
takes. It really is a production when you have
Yes.
to, I do it in OBS Studio. I have to then do remux the video to be able to stream it up to or upload it to YouTube. So that takes a while.
hmm
And then and when I first started with YouTube, God, it was taking like 3 hours. Now
Yeah.
I can get it up to an hour because there's a program. Once you go from OBS, there's another program. It's got a logo like a pineapple. I don't know what the name of it is, but
Oh, I didn't know.
yeah, that reformats it again. It takes the MP4 and reformats it better for YouTube, and I found you can upload a lot quicker.
Cool. Yeah, because like I
So
say, my 30, 40-minute video would take 3 hours or more
yeah,
to
in the
yeah,
yeah.
beginning, I was having that issue, and I was
yeah,
like, "Oh, I can't do this." I'd finish a video, and it'd be like midnight. I'd
yeah,
set it off, and I'd get up in the morning, and it would be just completing. And it's like,
Right.
what? What?
yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing about not going live is that if you make a mistake, some people will go back and they'll overlay something like, I screwed up on this here,
Yeah.
because when you
Yeah,
make a mistake, people will call you out on it every
yeah.
single time,
Yeah.
And
and so that's the thing is when you're live and you're done, it's great, you're done, and you walk away, but it's any imperfections are there forever, and if you've screwed it up, like I've gone back, oh my gosh, this guy came to bat twice, you know what I mean, or something like that, and or I forget, jeepers, I forget if did I roll on this already? Well, I'm going to roll again, and so you make a lot of mistakes when you're live that you can't fix. If you edit, you can fix them, or you can at least put in a footnote and say, hey, I screwed up on this. Don't write me hate mail. I know I screwed up, but here it is. But so there's good and bad about both. There's some people that
yeah,
go crazy and they have like a title screen and they do this and they edit in that and they fade out and
yeah,
some people get wicked creative with it, but it does take a lot of time
Yeah.
to do all that. So,
yeah, yeah,
but I found that I like sharing my stuff there because I've had so many great things I've captured while I was live or on whatever it was.
How about your
So
no hitter?
yeah,
I got my no hitter, my
Yeah.
accidental no hitter, which is
You're right.
still right there
Yeah.
on the
That was awesome.
wall. Yeah,
yeah.
right there.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
watching
whatever,
that
right
live.
there, right there. And then I've had when I played that couple games of replay baseball, Fred Lynn walked it off with a 6-6-6 roll in the bottom of the ninth. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I've had some unbelievable finish. I think my Jets Colts Super Bowl, Namath with a minute and a half drove the field and scored. You know, I'm not
That's
sure if
when you
I
bought a
played it.
new camera, wasn't it? With that no hitter?
Yeah, that was with my my face cam. I was kind of I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
playing 88 Red Sox and A's. I just was kind of
Yeah,
rolling an Appa game, checking it out, and
yeah,
that's when that happened there. But
Yep.
there's so many fun things I've had happen in my games that are like, oh my gosh, can you believe this? And it's the what was that Hafer Camp basketball game that I played there? I forget what it's called, but I
Up
had the
tempo. Up tempo.
yeah, up tempo. I played a game of that here one time, and Celtics were down by like 7 or 8 points with a minute to go, and I rolled like a rare play, or I got the run, and the Celtics went on an 8 point run and won the game. On an 8 point run at the end of the game, I was like, "Holy crap, that was unbelievable!" So I've had a lot of fun times here in my games and I can go back and look at. It's like, man, that was kind of crazy. Like, you remember when that happened? You remember when that happened? Now, there's a lot of times that things don't happen, but
yep.
we have so many fun moments when we play
Me
these
too.
things, and it's fun to capture them and share them. And but again, it's like anything else. Is a photographer will take 5,000 pictures to get that one.
Yep.
So we do that. We have a lot of games that just it's run of the mill games, and that's what it is. And then occasionally we have that one game. It's like, oh man, you ain't gonna believe this, or this happened, or you know, there's been so many things. I'm glad that I captured. So
Exactly.
Yeah, and I
but
think
anyway.
growing up as a kid, you've always like, if you're playing a game, you're always wondering, "Geez, would I be a good announcer? Could I do this?"
Right.
And I think this is, six at 67 now, I'm still a kid,
Yeah, yeah,
or, or,
Nothing
or
definitely.
wrong with
try
that, Mike.
or trying to stay a kid.
Yep.
And
I actually I didn't go back Texas Ags. Someone else, two other people went back and watched the whole video and made sure I did it right, and they said I did. They
Yeah,
did.
I
I
watched it
got
live. It sure was. It was fun. Yeah.
so.
Yep.
But anyway, so we're gonna drop off here. Boy, I didn't think we'd be on this late here today, but we had a good time chatting. That's what happens when you chat. You tend to just lose
Yeah.
track of time.
Yeah. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. But thanks for coming on, guys. Yeah, sometimes
Yeah,
when
enjoy
people
it.
come in the chat, we'll kind of get them on and chat about some things. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys got coming up here. Looking forward to digitaldice.com in May. And
Yeah.
like I say, tomorrow, as long as I don't sleep the day away, if I get up and get going here. Oh, yes, I got to go get my Big Macs. Yes, I'm going to get my Big Macs here. Yeah. Hoping to be playing some things tomorrow because I need to get my gaming in tomorrow and Sunday morning before the snow hits Sunday night. So
Mm,
anyway, I want to thank everybody that tuned in. We had a pretty good crowd, pretty good steady crowd here all night. So people wanted to
yeah.
hang in on this cold Friday night and chat some gaming here. And so I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And yeah, I'm glad I learned I can go beyond 2 hours. Now I got to go check that out. I got to see why at the 2 hour mark it was like the broadcast is going to end in 10 seconds and it counted down. It was like, holy cow, that was weird. So I need to find out why. Maybe that's just the recording part of it, but I didn't set it to record.
Should
So
have
what
played
was it?
Mission Impossible music when that was
Yeah,
going
someone
there.
someone said to do that. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'll have to read into that why because I thought it was an unlimited broadcasting on this plan here. So I'll have to find out. If it's not, then I got to go and that's why I'm kind of doing this here. Oh, Rod, come by. All right, Rod, Tabletop Hoops. If you need anything basketball, that's the channel to go to all the
Yes.
time. I'm not a big basketball guy, and I like to play once in a while. But you go to he's got everything on that. Any game you want to learn how to play, he's there with his channel. I love Rod's Tabletop Hoops. So anyway, so you guys stick around for 1 second, you guys, before we go. But I'm going to sign
Okay.
off here. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll talk to everybody hopefully this weekend. Say bye, guys.
Have a good one, guys.
Have a good one, guys. Keep rolling.